Yes, yes, yes. It is a Castworthy podcast, and we are back. I'm Big Steve, aka Last of a Dying Breed, on the Twitter machine, joined by EJ, the Sophisticated Savage, and the VP of Research. It's our first pod, first threesome, if you will, pause of 2023. The gang's all here. We bike.
VP's in a new crib.
How you guys
Congratulations.
feeling?
Yeah, finally, man. Finally. Appreciate it.
New background. You got the AC pumping right on you. Now,
Got the new digs.
now when we talk about the Dems, you can stay cool. You won't be sweating because you got the air pumping. I see you. I see you, big homie.
Look at
What's
you.
good?
You playoff ready today.
Game
Got
day.
your beard fresh.
It's game day. This is about 2 days old. It's a 2 day old beer, But yeah,
Something.
it's game day. It's game day, baby.
Challenge
2023.
day. It's challenge day.
2023, man. It's our year, man. Let's go. What's up with you guys? Anything new? Anything fun?
Can't say anything new. Nothing new.
EJ, you still in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. We making we
Can I get
making
better games?
we got
You know that was Fetty Wap,
milestones
right?
here.
oh
Yes.
man. I missed
This
that.
I think this is the
Congrats, man.
longest one since you were married, I think.
No, not yet.
Okay, okay. All right.
Holy
So,
cow. Jesus
all
Christ.
right. Well, no fun there then. Mark, you still married?
Yeah, as far as I
Uh,
know.
all right. Well, no fun there either.
Yeah, she's still there.
Steve, you ain't get kicked out yet?
Nah, not yet. Not yet. I haven't. I'm probably hanging on like a loose tooth though. But I she probably think about it every day. Like, um, but yeah, man. It's 2023. It's a new year. We here. It's playoff football divisional round. Um, we got a lot on the docket, a lot to cover. Some stuff that's happened that we didn't even get to talk about, but we gonna talk about anyway because we behind, we late. Um, but I'll start with actually what I want to start with. It's tax season, Vari, and
Mhm.
tell me about this shit that I be reading online about them trying to get rid of income taxes. Do I need to like hold on my filing,
No,
or no?
no.
It's just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they're gonna pass bills in the House, in the Republican House, and then they're gonna go to the Democratic Senate and die. And even if the Senate was in Republicans' hands, Joe Biden is not going to sign any of that stuff into law.
To
So
get rid of taxes.
yeah, it's just messaging. We did, look at what we did. And they'll use it to campaign to say, if you put Republicans in charge of the Senate and the White House in 2024, this can be, they'll use it to try to motivate people to vote. But there's nothing to
Gotcha.
see here.
What would that
Okay.
even look like if we? So they're saying they're trying to get rid of taxation.
They're trying to repeal the income tax and put in something that's called the flat tax. The
Mm,
flat tax is something that's been around since, like, let me not say been around. It's been like
an
in
idea.
Republican circle. It's been like an idea, fever dream of theirs since like the early '90s, where basically you get rid of all income taxes, all business taxes, and you just create one flat tax, and it'll be whatever percentage. And so you go to buy something, and it'll have this percentage tax added on. The amount that they're talking about is 30%. So just
Gee.
take whatever you buy now and add 30% to it, and you can see why this idea is going nowhere. So
But they're also, I guess, in that proposing that essentially when you get paid, you won't be taxed. Is that
right,
also part of it?
right, but you'll just be taxed in other places, right? So the whole idea behind taxes. So Republicans back in the '80s, or back in the late '70s, when Ronald Reagan was running for president and he was in the Republican primary, he was running against Poppy Bush, right? George H.W. Bush.
Hmm.
And when they were running in the primary and Ronald Reagan started this trickle down economics thing, George H.W. Bush came up with a great name for it before he got on board with it when Ronald Reagan picked him to be VP. And he called it voodoo economics because the shit don't make sense, right? If you tax rich people less, it'll make poor people have more money. And here we are today, right? But this is the same thing. This is something that Republicans have done for years, voodoo economics. So Steve can probably attest to this the best since he lives here in Florida, right? So every year we've had consistent Republican leadership in the state of Florida in the legislature as well as the governor's mansion for 30 years straight, right? 30 plus years straight. And every year they cut more taxes, right? But where the smoke and mirrors come in at is that they increased the fees. So when I got my driver's license, it cost $20 to get a driver's license. Now it's like $60. You want to
Mm.
get a fishing license, you want to get a permit for, a nail salon or whatever the fuck, anything, any interaction you have to do with the state, all those fees increase. So they keep cutting business taxes and cutting property taxes and things like that. But then they keep raising the fees to offset the tax cuts. You see what I'm saying? And then they get to go on the campaign trail and say, we cut taxes. And people are like, yeah, they cut my taxes. And it's like, did you renew your license this year? Did you renew your tags? You know, did you did you did you fish this year? Because all
Right.
of that shit costs you more money now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna do my taxes. I'll probably owe some money as well. Well, I mean, Selma Hayek is still free. I guess maybe there ain't consequence behind not doing taxes. Um,
Wesley Snipes would argue, beg to
Yeah,
differ.
he begged to differ.
yeah. Well, he's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black.
Um, see, the first racing out the pod of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say you don't got the things, but
That's true. That's true. I would let her walk. In the video of the girl that got pulled over. I know I don't want a DUI. You know what? I'll let you fuck. Selma, you got tax evasion on the suit. What we talking? What we talking? Um. All right, man. So, all right, well, we may as well get into football. Let's get right into it. What's left? Yesterday we saw two games. We saw the
Kansas City Chiefs and Jacksonville
Cinder,
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
yeah, the Cinderella Jaguars looking like they was trying to do something against Kansas City, and we saw Pat Mahomes get hurt in that, and I feel like the ankle injury was probably worse than they made made to lead on or they let on, and they let him stay in, which is some fucking dickhead shit. How do you feel about that?
I mean, with football players, a lot of these like you know soft tissue injuries and stuff like that with the ankle. A lot of times you can just avoid that with tape. And EJ probably can speak to this better than I can. But I remember I went to visit my brother in college, and one of the guys that I met while I was there, O lineman, hurt his ankle. They brought him out, taped it up, and I'm like, "They gonna let him play?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, you put tape on, you don't even feel that shit." He like, "After the game, it's different."
Mm-hmm. I'll
You
swell up.
Jesus
Yeah.
and
Christ.
so and so I wouldn't be surprised if like you know he's in a boot for a couple days, and then next week it's all good. They give him a good tape job, and then he's right back out there like it's nothing. If it's just like a light sprain or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens. It's football. You know what I mean? The Chiefs. If Mahomes goes down, I mean, they really don't have anything, any
Nothing.
contingency. So I mean, you look at it like this. If I'm Pat Mahomes, man, it's been 17 weeks that we bled for this. I'm not getting out for, at the most important game of the season. It's not
Right.
happening. You know what I mean? $500 million man. Hey, put some dirt on it. We in there.
Exactly. And that team, like you said, Steve, without Mahomes, they have nothing. Like Mahomes is the quarterback. That thing is like a well-oiled, Ferrari, and he comes out and it's like a Nissan Maxima. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but a Maxima got 3.5 in it. So you could probably still beat the little Corolla on the other side of the field, which is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, listen, I get the whole it's football, it's playoffs, go ahead out there. And with an injury, yeah, if it's just a quick sprain or whatever. But I mean, the way this dude, like, he couldn't even plant. He's hopping out there after making a throw, and he's, you know what I mean? Like, after handing it off. Even after halftime when he came back, you'd figure he probably went into, into locker room, got a shot. They probably hit him with a shot, taped it up real good. He's still out there hopping, which
mhm,
to me, I felt like they could probably still win the game without him. They had a good drive before halftime without him. That's Andy Reid, man. Like, you gotta protect the player from themselves. We've said this millions of times. Brandon Roy, RG3, like, I mean, we finally seen a player this year that they gave heat to, Lamar Jackson, who was like, fuck that, playoffs or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not risking it. Now, difference is, of course, Mahomes got $500,000 from his
Yeah,
team, and
half a
Lamar
billion.
billion,
half a
billion.
billion. I'm sorry, $500 million, and Lamar hasn't gotten paid, but still, like, and I think so. To me, right? I think with Lamar, his benefit is he got his mom as an agent, right? So if you about to go out there and play hurt, your mom gonna be like, no, the fuck you not, right? But Jerry Maguire gonna be like, well, what about that? What you could get from this if you win this game? How much money could you make? No, how much money could we make, Jerry? But your mom's is like, nah, man, you can't risk it. And I think, again, this doesn't. I don't think this is specific to Pat. This is kind of more pivoting over to Lamar now.
But I
But
mean,
it's the difference is that the ankle, again, versus in these scenarios that you brought up with RG3 and Lamar, these are knee injuries that if you know what I mean, we don't know the worst that could really be happening with Pat is torn ligament or something, some scar tissue in the ankle or something like that, a slight tear. But you can still kind of operate on that if you have the right taping, the right, he'll probably get some type of special shoe if it's that bad, or if it's just a high ankle sprain, he might get back out there. It might be all right after a boot. Still detrimental, still could be a lot. But yeah, these other injuries are knee injuries. And Lamar, kudos to him because the Ravens, man, it's just disrespectful. We said this before. Deshaun Watson can get 200 mil after sitting a year out and playing for the Browns. This dude
Mhm.
Lamar Jackson can't get remotely anything like that. That's insane. It's just stupid.
yeah, and also, I mean, I definitely agree. You got to protect the player from themselves, right? But if the medical people are saying the guy can go, he's telling you he can go. Like, I mean, I remember back. I know you don't watch college football that much, Steve, but when Byron Leftwich was in college, when he was at Marshall,
They
like his
carried him.
leg was so fucked up that he would throw the ball when they had like a chunk play, and two O linemen would basically carry him down the field to run the next play because he couldn't even walk.
It was
You
an
know what I'm
ankle.
saying?
That
And
was an
so,
ankle, yeah.
yeah, and so Mahomes don't seem like it was that bad or whatever, but these guys are gonna play if they can play. It's just managing risk, and clearly he still was able to go. And like I said, they probably, now that he got some time off, he'll go in. They'll actually shoot some X-rays, MRI, whatever, see what's really wrong with it. They'll probably put him in a boot for a couple days. And at this point in the season, teams aren't really practicing like in pads and stuff like that. Everything's pretty much walkthroughs at this point. And so, they'll just, make sure he doesn't go too crazy on it this week, and then he'll be ready to go next week probably.
Yep. We got two games. So, all right, that was the first game. Second game was the Eagles Giants. Giants got a lot of, um, confidence that was out in the universe because they had a dominant win over Minnesota last week. And realistically, we've been saying all year, at least on the Cashworthy podcast, that that Minnesota was not a 12-14. Minnesota was not really, they didn't even look like a playoff team. They had a really good wide receiver, and and they made some plays in some big spots. But so they got stomped out by the Giants, and people thought, well, the Giants are back. Danny Dimes is that guy. You start hearing people saying he's definitely the guy of the future. He's
Mhm.
elite. Like I heard that all week. Oh, Danny, he's here. He's arrived. He's elite. Dabo did it. Fuck out of here. He looked real normal last night.
I don't think I've always liked Danny Dimes. I don't think he's a problem. I mean, who the hell is he throwing to? The Giants receivers have been trash since the Odell boat scandal. They haven't had a good. They had Kadarius Tony, and this last coaching regime didn't want to do anything with him. Didn't want to work with him. Plus, he's a nutcase. But other than that, I mean, their best receiver right now is Slayton. Like that guy
Yeah.
ain't. He's
No,
not a
you're right.
starter on any other roster.
You're right, but that was the same. They had the same team against Minnesota. You can't be like, oh, on one hand he's there. This is an amazing team, and then the next hand you're shooting him bail. Danny Dimes is not the guy. First of all, I'm not calling him Danny Dimes anymore. His name is Daniel fucking Jones. Daniel Jones is not the guy. If I'm a Giants fan, like I wouldn't want a long term deal with this guy today, right? Maybe next year you get a little bit more. You get to you test drive the car, you take it on the highway a little bit, right? Slam on the brakes, take a hand off the steering wheel, see how it handles, make sure alignment's good, all of that. That would be next year for me with him. But I'm not committing long term to this guy. I don't even know if I'm committing long term to Saquon if I'm the Giants right now.
Well, the thing about it again is in the NFL again. We talked about RG3 and Andrew Luck. I don't think we realize how much those guys change and revolutionize the game because everyone wants to talk about what a quarterback is doing now. We forget it takes time for these guys to actually evolve and be good. Pat Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for almost 4 years. Same thing,
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre. So it's like if you're a Giants fan and you got Dable and you see that this guy, yeah, they bust Minnesota's ass, and then yeah, they got the ass whooped by the Eagles, but they had a pretty successful season, all things considered. So if you see this guy Daniel Jones can actually work with Dable, you don't bail on him. You get more things around him. You get more cohesiveness. This is one season, and they went into the second round of the playoffs. So again, you're like, all right, we're gonna get rid of this guy. Well, who the fuck you gonna go get? You gonna go get a rookie from the draft that you're probably gonna have to do all of this shit over again with, or you're gonna do what? Find an older free agent. You're gonna get Jacoby Brissett. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? We're in the
So
league. Like, where are you gonna find this magical quarterback from?
Derek Carr.
and and so I definitely see what you're saying, EJ, and I agree with a lot of it, right? And you have said this consistently, anytime we talk football about how they give up on quarterbacks too fast. And an example of that is Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this guy's a first round bust. Jacksonville got to move on." And now, we see it. He got a better coach, and it seems like he's going to be the guy for them, right? But at the same time, I agree with Steve that I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy. But the Giants aren't built in a way to where it's like they're not built to win now. Where it's like let's go find a quarterback and then go get a ring next year. They're still building, but is there anybody out there to build with as far as quarterback? No. So next year, this is Daniel Jones' fourth year. I just pulled up his contract on Sport Track, and so he has a fifth year option available. The team could just pick up his fifth year option. It only cost him 22 mil, and then let him be a bridge. See what he does next year. If he improves, maybe you say, okay, let's go into the future with him. If not, you see what's out there in the draft or in free agency. But I don't think he's based on what I've seen these last 4 years. He's not the guy. And I get the whole giving up on quarterbacks too fast, but I mean it's been 4 years.
Yeah,
So
but 4 years again. 4 years. I just gave you two examples where 4 years should be the benchmark for somebody to grow. And again, you look at Geno Smith. This guy playing phenomenal in Seattle. He's been given up on all around the league. Even Sam Darnold had a good second half of the season. Steve throws out Derek Carr. I mean, that's a pipe dream. If you're talking about the Giants, right? This guy is still in the contract in Oakland. You're gonna have to trade
mhm.
capital for this guy and pick up $40 million. If you're the Giants and that happens, and Derek Carr is a bust, he's already 30 years old. That doesn't, what I mean? It doesn't bode well. Plus, right now, they don't have anybody for him to throw to. So, like you said, Vari, he's not coming into a situation where he's gonna make that team much better right now. They have other holes. They don't have great O line. Their defense isn't that great. And let's just be real, the Eagles are the Eagles. They're the number one team out in the NFC for a reason. They've been whooping ass all year. So I mean, this was a divisional game. Sure, a few weeks ago, the Giants didn't even look like they were going to make the playoffs. They made it to the second round. So how do we just sit here and just say, Daniel Dimes, Daniel Jones, just not the guy. Just get rid of him. Go get another kid. You go in the draft and you get another kid. These kids aren't ready. Like these kids are not ready.
So I like I said, I'm not saying get rid of him, and I didn't say that before. I said I wouldn't sign him to a long term deal today. That's my piece. And to VP's point, now knowing that they have a 5th year option, I would absolutely pick that up because yeah, there isn't much else out there that you can go get unless you're going to get a veteran like a car who you're going to take off of the Raiders' hands and you come up with some type of plan where they cover some of it. Now you're not covering any bonuses you trade for him. The bonuses stay with them, right? That's team money. So you only got to cover salary itself. So similarly with Aaron Rodgers, doubtful that he would go to the Giants, right? But I'm just saying, like, I would explore options with Daniel Dimes or with Daniel Jones in my back pocket as my actual plan for next year, because you really think about it, Dabo all year has been like kind of shrugging it off like he didn't even like this kid. First few weeks of the season, we see them fighting on the sideline, like not even talking to each other, bad communication. They go out, they smash Minnesota, and Dable's like, oh, yeah, he did okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Best game of his career, one of the best games we've seen in playoffs from a statistic standpoint. What was it, like 70 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, some wild shit. And he's just like, yeah, it was okay. Like, no, I need you to show some fucking excitement. You're talking about me. I'm your quarterback.
Yeah.
Um,
Be on your
and
Mike
and
McDaniel shit.
yeah,
Well,
and it's
I've
and,
heard
and
all
it's
year that they had a
divisional,
pretty
but
good relationship. I've heard all year that him and Dable spent a lot of time together. And Dable is, an offensive minded guy, so he was able to look at what Daniel Jones does well, and highlight that. And Daniel Jones, even we go back to the 99-yard scramble game where he tripped, he can move. He's a 6'5" big guy that can move. And when you look at Dable and what he did with Josh Allen, he's looking at Daniel Jones like, okay, he may not be Josh Allen, but let's remember, Josh Allen's first 4 years, people were like, this guy's not the guy.
I don't remember that.
Oh, no. You can look it up. People were writing Josh Allen off his first 4 years. If you look at his comparative numbers, they were horrible until he got with Dable. And this is just what I'm saying. I get what you guys are saying, and I understand it. I'm just saying we're in a league like I was talking about one of these Jets beat writers that said Jets fans put too much stock in the coach. I'm like, are you fucking retarded? Do you not seen what division we've been in? Bill Belichick has won with what in surrounded Tom Brady. This guy has done it back to back to back to back. Coaching is too undervalued. That's the problem. If you look at it, even with you, Steve, you hate your current coach, but this guy is
He's
taking y'all to
terrible.
get 12 wins. You know what I
Our
mean? Like,
offensive coordinator did that, and defensive coordinator. Our coordinators did that, which
okay,
is coaching. Which is coaching.
but it's still
Which is
coaching.
coaching. Yeah.
And Dan Quinn is also the guy that fucking blew the Super
Gave up
Bowl.
20,
But
but he's McDaniel to me. He's the defensive McDaniel,
yeah,
right? McDaniel's an offensive coordinator and should never have been another head coach. And look at what happened in Oakland. Everyone knew it. And I think it's the same thing with Quinn. I think a lot of people are looking at Dan
McDaniels.
Quinn. McDaniel, same different. Oh, you got you got
Yeah,
McDaniel. Okay.
that's because I thought I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
Um, but I think it's similar with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, head coach, probably not gonna work. Defensive guy, absolutely. Stay your
yeah.
ass up in the booth. X's and O's, that's you. Run
Same
with
thing
it.
you see in Tampa. And I told you guys this since 2015. Todd Bowles is not a head coach. When he was out there, when Tampa was getting their boots smoked this
Mhm.
past game by you guys, he looked lifeless. He looked like he didn't know what to do. He didn't have any fire. There was no adjustments. And that's the issue that I have with Robert Saleh, and that you don't see the fire. You don't see the all gas, no brakes. There's no in-game adjustments. There, your best friend's little brother was who got fired was calling our plays. We're 3rd and 1 on the fucking goal line, and this dude is doing some bullshit. Again, coaching situations matter, and I get it. I hear you on, looking at Danny Dimes one more year, but coaching matters. We'll get another season with Dable and Jones, and if they actually get some number one receiving talent, who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? So I just think this league is too rinse and repeat. Like, if we keep doing this QB carousel, people keep thinking like, you change the QB, everything's gonna work. Look, there are gonna be winners, there are gonna be losers. Everybody ain't gonna be good. You know what I mean? So it's other things you got to focus on.
So EJ, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I think I'm saying this, and I believe Steve agrees with it. I think what the issue is that when you look around the league, you're seeing people like a Pat Mahomes. Yeah, you can say Mahomes sat for this many years before he became the starter, but when he became the starter, he was the guy like right away. The same shit with Aaron Rodgers. He sat for those years. He was the guy right away. You look at guys who didn't sit, like Joe Burrow, who was the guy right away. Yeah, people wrote off Allen and stuff like that, but people, that guy got an arm. He get a receiver. They bring in Stephon Diggs. They bring in Dable, and then boom, Josh Allen is the guy. So you have
So
teams
yeah,
that are looking at these quarterbacks saying people are putting in Lamar Jackson, the guy right away. So people are looking at these guys and
Joe
saying,
Burrow.
these Joe Burrow, these people are coming in and they're finding success immediately. And I don't have time to wait 5 years to see if my quarterback is the guy.
but you
You know
just
what I mean?
named out of 32 teams, you just named 5 guys,
Right.
and
But
those of which
I named
But
five
that's
rookies.
but
The
that's
other
a
teams have
that's a
veteran
quick
players.
I
right. Well,
understand, but
that now
of
they're
those,
veterans. If you go back and look at it, Deshaun Watson similarly. I
But
mean,
of
another
those 5 guys, though, right? Many
Tua.
of them are you talking about were not the guys. They were not expected to be the guys.
No,
Aaron
they were.
Rodgers, no, Aaron Rodgers, when he was at Cal and they had Brett Favre and the Packers took him, everybody was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" You know
no,
what I'm
no,
saying?
no,
So
no, no,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
I'm
I
saying
can't.
like
I can't
this.
let that stand. I can't
No,
let that stand.
it's true. It's
You don't
true.
draft the quarterback with the first pick
He went
if
20.
you're not expecting him to be the guy.
Listen, but this is what I'm saying to
No, I don't
you.
care. 20.
A
He
lot
went
of
in the
people,
first round. If you're a quarterback in the
No,
first round, you're the
yeah.
guy.
no,
Brock Purdy is the quarterback. You're not.
a lot of, but how many first round quarterbacks have been drafted in the first round and don't play anymore? This is what I'm just saying to you guys.
But how
This
many
league,
do? Like the ratios
not
are
a lot,
crazy.
not a lot.
Just
You only
Justin
named 5 out of
Fields. We keep
32,
going. I can keep going. All
and
right,
they
just
already saying
let's go.
Justin Fields is Chicago's trying to market him off. What are we
No,
Stop.
they're not.
talking about?
No, they're
They
not.
just said
No,
that.
they're not. You're just
But
talking.
EJ,
You
EJ,
haven't
Now you're
seen
just talking.
you haven't seen they've been talking, they've been thinking about trading him. Who's the guy in Arizona you can't
Well, because
stand?
they have the number
Kyle
one pick,
Murray.
but
Right,
they're not going to trade him.
Kyle
They're not
Murray,
going to trade him.
first round guy. Oh, Kyle Murray, he's not it. He's not the guy. We missed it because he gets injured. Like, what are we talking about? We rinse
No, because he has no discipline.
this
He's a
league has
great
become
talent.
too
He's a
this league has
great
become
talent
too
when he's
microwave.
healthy.
This league has become way too microwave, man. Tua, first round, he's not the guy. He has a decent season this year, but he keeps getting hurt. Listen, I mean, I get it. This league is just too microwave. It's just too microwave. It's
Daniel
really too
Jones is not the
microwave.
guy.
I don't
I'm not gonna
disagree.
continue talking about the Giants.
I'm
So
not,
there's two games.
we talking about the quarterbacks. We're not talking about just the Giants. We talk just like okay, years ago, just 2 seasons ago, people were like, I wouldn't give Dak Prescott the money. Didn't they say that?
Who said that though?
A lot of pundits said that. They said they wouldn't give Dak Prescott the money, but Dak is the guy. And Dak
There's
was also a
but
third rounder.
you're talking about different situation. When Dak was
Oh, okay.
trying to when Dak was getting paid, you had to pay Zeke too. You got a situation on your hand. It's not like the Giants have no one else to pay. They have no one to pay today. They
They gotta
got
pay Saquon.
nobody.
They have to
Exactly. They have
decide if they're gonna
nobody
pay.
to pay
They're
today.
literally in the same
I'm not
position that
paying
y'all were
Saquon.
in.
I'm not paying
No,
Saquon.
I don't agree with that, EJ.
No, I
I'm not
mean,
paying.
when you're talking about who we're gonna pay, it's literally the same thing where Zeke
No.
had to get his bread.
I
It's
mean,
not close.
no. The only comparisons to Jones, Saquon, and Zeke, Dak is that both are quarterback and running backs. That's it.
And they're in the
No,
same
that's what I'm saying.
division.
And
That's it.
they're talking about who they're gonna pay long term. That's what I'm saying.
No,
And
that's what I'm saying. That's not an argument.
paying
You
Zeke
got.
wasn't a good move in
I,
my
I
opinion.
agree, but I'm saying on the Giants side, you have a running back that is coming off of injury versus a guy you're trying to see if he is going to be the guy. Whereas in Dak, you had a dude you've been winning with versus a running back who we know running backs aren't durable. I think they made a mistake in paying Zeke first, but the situation is taking care of itself. Nothing to see here. But on the Giants side, I don't even think this is an argument.
Which
Yeah,
which piece though?
I don't think it's close. I don't
Which
think it's
piece?
close.
What is?
I don't think you sign Saquon long term.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't sign.
At most, I would give him a 2-year deal. And on Jones, I would exercise his 5th-year option, see what happens next
and
year,
that's
and then make a
precisely what
determination at
Dallas.
the end of
That's
the season.
precisely what Dallas did. Dallas kept Dak. They said, "Okay, just hold off. We're gonna pay you later." But they decided to give Zeke the bag. I'm saying take who we're talking about out of it in their ability, but the same decisions had to be made. And I think you're both right in the sense that let's exercise a fifth option, see what we got. But I'm saying to the quarterback position in the NFL, it has become way too microwave. And it's like these teams keep rinsing and repeating, oh, we're going to get this guy, we're going to get that guy. And if you don't build your team around someone, you're going to be in the bottom each time. Look at the
You're right,
Bills.
but it won't. It's never going to get better because you got guys like Joe Burrow that are going to come out and go straight to the Super Bowl. Like
Well,
that's
Mhm.
and as a business person, I'm thinking, yo, I got 30% of my stands filled. If I get rid of this piece of shit, Daniel Jones, and I'm just saying his name, but that's not who I'm talking specific. If I get rid of this piece of shit quarterback I have today, and I bring a young kid in, and let's say we win 10 games, I go from 30% of my seats filled to 80% of my seats filled immediately next year. And from a
Right.
business standpoint, that's what they're talking about. From a
And
fan standpoint, I agree with you. It is wash and repeat, and they should. And I've told you that. I told you the same thing about Zach Wilson 2 weeks ago. They got to
and
give these guys time.
and just to add on to what Steve is saying, I can give you a real life example. Matt Ryan. I'm pretty sure people in Atlanta were saying we got to just give him one more year, one more receiver,
We took
one
him
more
to the
running
Super
back,
Bowl,
one more.
but
Yeah, but
Yeah,
how
he did.
long? He was in the
Matt,
league
I mean
12
Matt
years
Ryan,
before he went to
but
the Super Bowl.
and that's the point. He didn't. Matt Ryan didn't start clicking until he got older. He got with a
Yeah,
Dan
but they
Quinn.
were winning.
Hold on. He got with a Dan Quinn. They got him a coordinator, and they should have won the fucking Super Bowl.
They should
Look
have won
at
the
you.
Super
We
Bowl.
talking
They should
about
have
Joe
won.
Burrow, right? Joe Burrow. We want to talk about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a 26-year-old rookie who's had a lot of experience in the college level. Went
Russell
from this
Wilson.
school, went from this school to that school, this school to that school. Right? He comes out. He's phenomenal. Great. Has a great opening year. But what do they then do? They build around him. They get him his college guy, who's one of the best receivers in the league. That helps. And then his entire offensive line gets bolstered. They bring in draft picks. They bring in free agents. They said, yo, this guy got sacked 60 fucking times last year. We can't let that happen. Let's build around him. They didn't say, obviously they're not going to say he wasn't bad because he looked good, but they said, we got something here. Let's build around that. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm saying that the smart teams that actually win, they say, okay, we might not have the guy of the future, but how are we going to plug things up to make him better? Stephon Diggs made the entire difference for Josh Allen. Entire difference.
But here's the key though. You'll never get yourself to the point where you can build that team if you stick with a guy that's going to get you just to the first round because your picks are not going to be high
Right.
and you end up putting yourself in a cap situation because you sign him. Like
Right.
that's not it's just not smart football. It's not smart
And
management.
and that's the point that I was making with Matt Ryan. You keep giving him one more year, one more year, one more year, and you keep making it to the first round of the playoffs, and then you can't draft anybody to make the team better. And part of the problem was Matt Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about that all day, but there's some other
They should have won the
quarterbacks that
Super
are
Bowl. That don't even make sense.
there's some other quarterbacks
They
that are
should have.
playing. Yeah, they should have. That are
Kyle
playing
Shanahan.
today, and actually the games that we have today, one of them, which we'll get to, kind of talks about this quarterback situation we're talking about. One guy that came straight in, took the job, and has run with it, and another guy who was Mr. Irrelevant and is looking like he could potentially take the job and run with it. And that's our second game, which is the Cowboys and the 49ers. But the first game that we have today is the Bills and the Bengals, another one, two quarterbacks we were just talking about. And we got we finally get we're gonna finally get the game that we did not get. Because young man, I and his name is
DeMar
slipping my
Hamlin.
mind. DeMar Hamlin was injured, and from what we're hearing, it's all good news right now. He's still dealing with some, oxygen and stuff like that, but that's a lot better than death. So, shout out to him. Shout out to them doctors. Y'all call it a miracle. I call it great science, great health professionals. I'm glad for him. Very happy for him.
Even to proving my point in the San Francisco matchup, they draft Trey Lance. He gets hurt. People are like, "Oh, he's not the guy." Right? He got hurt. What the fuck are we talking about? Jimmy G comes in. Who Jimmy G? When you look at his numbers, all he does is win. He gets hurt. Oh, he's injury prone. He fucking broke his leg because he got tackled bad. Like, what are we talking about?
But
and
no,
now Brock
EJ,
Purdy comes out of nowhere, and because
EJ,
that system is good,
you're kind of cherry picking the facts to make the point you want to make.
How?
Because they drafted Trey Lance, they gave a bunch of capital to get this guy. He's been in their building, and they're obviously not seeing enough, which is why they keep holding on to Jimmy G, because they're not liking what they're seeing from Trey Lance.
That's
and then
my point.
They finally let him go. He gets hurt. Okay, boom. We still got Jimmy G. Put him back in. Jimmy G gets hurt. Okay, we got no choice to bring. But this kid, and now this kid is balling out, and so they might be like, "Yo, looks like we found the guy."
That's my point. It's not that Brock Purdy is the guy. It's that they have Deebo Samuels. They have an oiled machine around him. They have that defense. So you pretty much they just went through two guys, right? So we can argue it's not the quarterbacks,
bullshit.
It's the
that's
system.
Bullshit. No, that's bullshit. And I'll tell you why it's bullshit. Because I'm a Dolphins fan. Tua gets hurt, the Miami Dolphins turn to shit. It's not everything's not plug and play. You got Waddle, Tyreek, Gesicki. They beefed up the O line. They took Tua out. Put Teddy in the offense.
Mostert, Jeff Wilson.
Suck.
Good cornerbacks.
That's your Jets being hard.
Teddy Bridgewater. Okay, even with y'all second option was Teddy Bridgewater, who can't stay healthy either. You got to the playoffs with a fucking rookie.
But that's not the point though. The point is that you're saying with Brock Purdy is the system, and I'm saying maybe the guy's just good. The same way Tom Brady was a 7th-round guy. Nobody expected him to do anything. Somebody gets hurt, he steps up, and then he's the GOAT.
And we've always argued from that. The argument has always been, was it Brady or was it Belichick? And
it's Brady.
Yeah,
we've seen it. Yeah,
we've seen it. We've seen it definitively, especially when he went to Tampa. But I'm saying that was always a discussion.
And Drew Bledsoe has always been the quarterback maker. So you had
Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, Drew Bledsoe. He brought in Brady. He got hurt. Brady comes in. He got hurt. Romo comes in. Bledsoe, the quarterback maker.
The talent does matter.
Nobody said that. Nobody said it doesn't matter.
If I go to the store and buy a bunch of Wagyu beef and then get the guy who cooks at Waffle House to make it, it's probably not going to be that good.
Right.
This shit might be fire, but that's not. Nobody said the talent doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, again, you just can't keep rinsing and repeating, throwing the baby out before the bathwater. You got to start to build a team. That's like That's what I'm saying.
I think that's a valid point, but you have to also take into account that today, in today's NFL, we're seeing far too often guys come in and be ready to hit the ground for someone to sit back and be like, you know what, let me give this guy 5 guys.
Name me 5 guys, right?
Joe
just
Burrow.
In the last 3 years that hit the field running. That's one.
Trevor Lawrence. 2 years.
Deshaun Watson.
Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson.
The last 3 years. These guys are old pro. Deshaun Watson is basically a vet.
Okay, last 3 years.
You're talking, but you're closing the span. You're moving the goalposts. You're talking about 3 years.
No, I'm just.
Let's just talk about in general. Right?
Look at
today. All right, that's fine.
Let's not talk about all time.
No, let's talk about the NFL.
We're not talking.
Forget about all time. Let's talk about today's. Let's talk about today's NFL.
Let me get my point off. Right, you guys. When we talked about people hitting the ground running right now, right? You brought up Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes.
No, we didn't. You brought those guys up.
No,
you said they said.
Y'all were talking about knowing that these guys were the guys, right? So these guys, they became the guys.
That's not what we said.
No, y'all said the teams knew that these guys were the guys, right?
No, that's not what we said. We said if you draft a quarterback with a 1st-round pick, you're drafting him to be the guy.
Okay, right. But you also said that once they started, you said once Mahomes started in Kansas City, they said, "Hey, this guy's the guy." You said that. It's literally recorded. Okay.
Yeah, they sat 4 years.
Right. Those guys sat
But
4
that's
years.
two. You got two.
You can't even
You
go
got
in the
two.
last 10. You can't even give me the last. Give me
I
whatever
got
time
you.
frame
I
you
got
want.
you. I got you.
Give me
I got you.
Give me 5
I'll
guys
give
that
you
hit the
guys. I'll
field
give you guys that are
immediately and
playing.
was good.
I'll give you. Okay. I'll give you guys that are playing today.
Okay.
Today.
Mhm.
Russell Wilson.
He didn't hit the field immediately. He
What
sat.
are you talking about?
He
He
sat.
stole a
He was.
job. He
He
stole
was
a
a
job from Matt Moore. What are you
right.
talking
He
about?
wasn't the
What
starter.
are you talking about,
He
EJ?
wasn't the starter.
He was the. Oh my God.
He
came in.
didn't go into that season as
You're-
he
you're
had
at-
to steal the job.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay.
He
All right.
stole a job in camp. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Russell Wilson stole a job in camp because they paid Matt Moore thinking he was going to be the guy, and Matt Moore never started for Seattle. That's what happened.
Okay.
Russell Wilson, that's one. Lamar Jackson, that's two. Joe Burrow, that's three. Tua Tagovailoa, that's four.
Hit the ground running. Stop.
Justin
No,
Fields.
I'm not giving to it. No.
Okay, you can
No.
have him. Justin Fields.
This is second year.
Okay,
Last year he didn't do shit.
Justin Fields is four.
Last year he didn't do shit.
Right, but you're talking about 4 to 5 years.
He didn't do shit last year.
You're saying 4 to 5 years.
I'm not giving you
Okay.
Justin Fields.
Chargers quarterback.
Herbert.
Same thing.
You
Herbert.
love
Justin
him,
Herbert.
but the jury's still out.
Just went to the playoffs.
The jury's still out.
Just
the
went to the
fucking
playoffs with an
Dolphins went to the
injured team.
playoffs. The Dolphins went to the
playoffs
playoffs.
Went to the playoffs with an injured. But you're moving the goalposts, EJ.
No,
the point is, you said give me 5. I'm giving you 5 that are coming in today.
Good right now. As soon as they started,
I'll give you 5 that came in that did better than 4 years than
Lamar.
Daniel Jones.
Herbert hasn't done shit yet.
Lamar.
He already named Lamar.
Lamar
Deshaun
Jackson. Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
It's
Okay.
endless, EJ. It's endless. There's
No,
more.
you got about 5.
There's right, but there's more supporting information for the opposite of what you're saying than for what you're saying. Now, I do, and I've told
really
you last year, I do agree because I can turn this around just like you, and I could say the kid that's in Carolina that you guys drafted that's looking good right now. We got Geno Smith that was drafted, looked like shit, and now he's doing it. But here's the thing, it's the Jets, EJ. All the ones that we're talking about are Jets. There's nobody that sat 5 years that started with another team that anybody's like, yo, we should have given him 5 years. Look, after 5, he's great. Give me one.
I don't even know what you're at. I don't even know that you're sure that you know what you're asking. You gave me 5
Give me
people.
one quarterback. Give me one quarterback.
You gave me 5 people that hit the ground that's had some success thus far.
So I'm asking you. So I'm asking you today to give me one quarterback that sat and on their 5th year.
Aaron Rodgers. Pat Mahomes.
It wasn't on his 5th year. Also wasn't his 5th year.
Yes, it was.
No, you're absolutely.
Now you're changing the argument.
No, Rodgers sat for 4 years.
Get the fuck out of here, Steve. Move
Rodgers
on.
didn't sit for
4 years. Get out of here. Yes, he did.
No, he didn't because he started against the Cowboys. The first game he started. No, he didn't. He didn't.
This fucking guy, yo. You got to be shitting me.
Pat Mahomes started.
Okay, move along.
Pat Mahomes sat for 2 years.
Next topic.
Right. So the point is, we have quarterbacks that are playing today. We have a Joe Burrow who came in, hit the ground running, went to the Super Bowl, and makes for the argument of why wouldn't I go ahead and draft a quarterback rather than stick with a Daniel Jones? And he's going against Josh Allen and the Bills, who was another quarterback, came in, hit the ground pretty good.
Hit the ground terrible, actually. His numbers before Stephon Diggs were fucking terrible.
It's perception.
No, it's actually facts.
I wouldn't go as far as say his numbers. He was throwing a lot of picks.
His numbers were horrible, VP. Stop it.
So, all right. So in the Bengals game, we get to see Jamar Chase. We'll get to see a lot of big stars. Say Jamar Chase, Diggs, Mixon.
Their O-line, they're missing 2 starters on the O-line in Cincinnati.
It's in Buffalo. Is it so? Lael Collins is out, right? And then I think Alex Kappa, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
their
right
guard
and their tackle. Yep. So it's gonna be
so that whole side of the line is off. And I would chip on that side with like Hayden Hurst or somebody if I'm, but if you really think about it, the Bills pass rush hasn't been as good since Von Miller went down. So that could be beneficial.
Could I interject real quick and just say something?
Yeah.
So, I went ahead and, since we got the information superhighway at our hands and pulled up Josh Allen's career stats.
Since you're the researcher, right?
Yeah,
internet.
since. And looks like in 2012, 2000, he threw for 2,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, 12 picks his rookie year. Next year, 3,000 yards, so full 1,000 yards more, double
Mhm.
touchdowns, and threw less interceptions. And then after that, 4,500 yards, 4,400 yards, and then
When did he
this
get
season,
Diggs?
4,200 yards.
What
He
year did
got
he get
Diggs
Diggs?
in the 2020, the 4,500 yard season.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's fourth year.
But I mean,
his
you're saying like
his
he was
first year,
ass.
his first year, 10 touchdowns, 12 picks.
And then
And
the
and
next
his
year,
complete
20
what was his
touchdowns, 9
completion?
picks.
What was his completion percentages those
Which
years?
one?
Under
First year?
50. Under
No.
50% the first 2-3 years.
But
First.
the key is you can't
No,
compare.
just ask. He
You can't.
since he
I
brought
know,
it
I
up.
know, I
He
agree.
brought it
But
up.
you can't compare 1 year to where our actual argument was Daniel Jones is already 4 years in and he's not the guy.
No,
Like,
I'm not. We're not. I'm not talking about. I never. You keep focusing on Daniel Jones. I'm just saying this league is too microwave with the quarterbacks these days. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
And to
saying.
answer your question, his percentage actually was never under 50%. His rookie
About
year was 50.
60.
It was 52%, and then the next year before Diggs, it was 58%.
Never had
And then since
60% until Diggs.
since Diggs is over 60.
I know. I know.
but that's all. That's only passing. If you start looking at rushing, then you get things change too because
Hey,
he's not just a throwing quarterback.
listen. I love Josh Allen to this day.
I
My
don't.
my
He's
homies,
racist.
my homies that are Jets fans, hate when I talk about it because I said we should have drafted him because I thought looking at him he had all the intangibles. But again, Sam Darnold. Okay, I also got a buddy that loves Sam Darnold and says exactly what I'm saying. Had we build around him, had we given him time, he'd have been all right. I think he's a blockhead as a quarterback. I mean, if USC to me, he got progressively worse each year. But I mean, who knows? I don't know. You know what I mean? Had
But
we invested in a receiver, I don't know.
you can only and not even just the receiver, you can, and you said it earlier, coaching is key. You can only get better if you put someone in there that can take somebody's strengths and weaknesses, point it out, give him some true feedback, and help him get better. We see
Mhm.
that with Dabble everywhere he's gone
You
so
see
far
that
with
with
the
Tua.
quarterbacks. We saw that with we see
Saw it
that
with
with
Tua.
Shanahan. We see it with Tua. Like, this is that's the key, right? These guys, if you're getting drafted first round, second round as a quarterback, you have to invest in somebody to come in and say, hey, this is what you need to do to get better. That shit you were doing in college is not going to be, it's not going to work here. It'll get
And that,
you
and that's exactly
8
my point.
wins.
That's precisely my point. And Dabo is the guy in New York that, and you guys made an excellent point. I agree from the beginning. Hey, pick up that fifth year, see if he really elevates in New York. Let's say, hey, they go out, they get consistent O line, and they actually get him someone to throw to that's quarterback proof. Garrett Wilson had fucking 1,000 yards today with three different fucking, this year with three different fucking quarterbacks. Chris Olave in New Orleans, three different fucking quarterbacks, 1,000 yard season. You know what I'm saying? So again, if these teams get good coaching and they get a good system around, you might have something. You never know until you really build around it. Now, again, to your point, do you sign them forever? Maybe not. But if I'm the Giants next year, I'm gonna draft a fucking receiver and get some help around this shit.
Yeah, I'm still if I'm the Giants, I'm still picking a quarterback probably in the third or fourth round, just in case next year doesn't work out.
Or go
But
get you a Jacoby Brissett.
but we know Brissett's
Mm,
not a starter. Like,
No, but I
if
mean
I,
as a backup, as a veteran backup.
oh yeah, you need someone. You need someone. All right. So in today's game, let's get back to these. We're gonna get to see the Bengals and Bills matchup, which is I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be high scoring. It's in Buffalo. I don't think there's horrible weather. I think it's just cold, right, which is normal, so that's a good
mhm.
thing. What's you guys take on that game? Who do you have and why? We'll start with you, VP.
Um, I think Buffalo wins the game, but I really want Cincinnati to win just because Buffalo's in the division. So I would hope that they have no success at all. But I just think as good as Cincinnati is, like they still got holes, and I think Buffalo is more of a complete team. Their secondary is healthier. You know, they got a great offense. Their defense is good. They got Matt Milano, who is dirty as fuck, and who knows, what the hell he's gonna do to Joe Burrow today. He's the guy who knocked out Tua with the first concussion in that Bills game in Week 3. Dirty ass player. He needs to be fined. He should be suspended from the league permanently. But yeah, I
Wow.
just think Buffalo's a more complete team. He's a dirty player. Yo, come on, EJ.
What did
Like,
he do?
well, one, the hit on Tua was one of those late hits. Tua had already thrown the ball.
Anytime someone hits a Dolphin, it's a dirty play. But when they hit Flacco late, Vari was like, it looked like he wasn't gonna slide.
But in the playoff game, Skylar Thompson was running to the outside, like running like out, and he basically gave himself up to step out of bounds. But because he still had 1 foot still on the green, Milano took a shot at him going out of bounds. Because it's a third round or seventh round quarterback, the ref was standing right there, no flag. Had that been Tom Brady, this dude probably would have been suspended indefinitely. You know what I mean?
Reach.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
So,
Listen,
but
if you
anyway,
can't take the hit, don't run.
Get your ass out the fucking sideline. Hurry up.
I think the Bills win this game and go on to face the Chiefs next week.
I think the difference.
Even though I don't want them to.
The difference maker in this game is precisely that Joe Burrow is out 2 of his starting offensive linemen. We don't know who he's got back there to come in for these guys. Buffalo's front 7 hasn't been as vicious as everyone has thought they would be this year, but I think they, at Oliver, they might come out this year and they might get to Joe Burrow a little bit. But I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of passing. Expect both of these quarterbacks to throw the ball 40 times because the Bills just don't run the football. They just choose not to. I don't understand it.
Unless it's Allen, which is stupid.
Yeah. So I got Buffalo as well.
All right. I'm the lone wolf. I am on I think the Bengals win. I think Joe Burrow is cool as hell. Like pressure, there's no pressure on this guy, right? He's a piece of coal. And when you pressure him, he turns to diamond. Like we've seen it in so many last minute drives. Like this kid just gets better. They're down, he gets better. Buffalo they look sluggish, man. They look sluggish in all the games they played. They look sluggish against the Dolphins last week. The week before that, in week 18, it was, I forget who they played, but they look sluggish there. They just don't look like they're themselves. And to VP's point, they don't have the best secondary with the Bengals. When you talk about the cornerbacks, that's the holes that they have, but they have good safeties. So I'm moving Jesse Bates over, and we're gonna stick Diggs. Pause, and we're not gonna let Diggs beat us. If you're gonna beat us, you're gonna beat us with fucking Gabe Davis, and they have no running game, which is the other piece I think is gonna be problematic for the Bills throughout this playoff. Is they think the only way to play football is by throwing the ball 55 times and running the ball 10 to 15, and that is not going to work, man. Not against another team that's high powered offense, because they can keep up with you. You get one stop, or you get stopped once, and it's problematic.
Yeah, and I think the factor you're also missing though is that playing in Buffalo, Orchard Park. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Missing two starters on the O line. I don't know, buddy. I don't know.
And what I would say is, when you say, they played us and they look sluggish, etc.
Divisional.
I think that's part of just being divisional. I mean, these teams play each other all the time. They know each other, so it's not as easy, And I also think that Buffalo may have gone into those games against the Dolphins. I saw a stat in the last 3 years before this season. The score, the cumulative score between Dolphins Bills was like 117 to like 32 over the last 3 years. They dominated us. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
They dominated us. The cumulative score for the 3 games this season is like a 5-point difference over all 3 games, the 2 regular season and the playoffs. And so I think they just probably, it's a different team they're playing now. But Steve, you asked about the weather, and I went ahead and I did some research and pulled that up. According to weather reports, it's going to be in the upper 20s at Orchard Park. It's going to be mostly cloudy, and around kickoff, we're looking at some light snow.
Any wind? What's the wind?
Because
that's the key with passing.
The Bills also when you look at the Bills, to VP's point, that being a divisional game. They also played that game really with nothing to play for, and looking at the momentum of what happened in that game when Hamlin went down, that was their first game coming back from that. And, they've had a week off to kind of get a little healthy at the right time. So, I think that's going to be a major key. They've had a little time to rest. They've had a little time to, sit back and see what's going on. But, I can see why you would pick him, especially, with looking at that game earlier in the season. It was pretty close. But again, not having your two starting guys, your safety net, which is your left tackle. Mm,
So you guys picked the Bills. Give me one player from the Bengals that would cause for them to beat the Bills. If
Jesse
that has to
Bates.
have a big game.
Jesse Bates, you named him. One of the great young safeties out there. I don't think he's as good in coverage as people give him credit for, but he's a good center fielder that can come down and make some things difficult for Stephon Diggs. So,
Yeah.
like me and you always say, Steve, you take Diggs out that game, it's over.
And and
That's how we
and
beat him.
I agree with that. And part of the reason too is that, especially watching the way the Bills played us, the Bills are looking to take the top off your defense all the time. And if you got a good safety back there that's not going to let that happen, that's how the Bills beat you. Is they're not, a lot of times they're not going these long, sustained 7-minute drives.
Mm-mm.
It's
Yeah, it's
it's a
all.
drive where they run 5 plays, and one of those plays got them 72 yards.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And so you can't let them do that to you. And I think having a guy like Bates can slow that down.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. Von Bell on the other side as the other safety, he's fucking good too. So, let's not sleep there on them. I think from the Bill side, for me, the one person is going to be James Cook. I think if for them to win, which is Dalvin Cook's little brother, they're going to have a big game on the ground. He's going to have to get at least 100 yards. I feel like, and you're going to have to keep Joe Burrow off the field because this guy, just like Josh Allen, can score very quickly, and he's got a lot of fucking weapons. When you talk about
Mhm.
T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then you throw in Jamar Chase as the cherry on top, like he's got a great receiving cast, plus a Joe Mixon back there, plus a Hayden Hurst. Like that offense is so high power, man. To EJ's point, the blocking is going to be key. But I think you got to keep that guy off the field, and the way they do that is they got to jump out to a lead if I'm Buffalo, and then I'm running the ball with Cook, and just trying and hope the defense does their job.
Mhm.
Other game today,
Your game.
which I think is the game of the playoffs. I mean, realistically, to me, this is the Super Bowl. This is probably the best game that we should see, right? I mean, obviously, it doesn't always
Mm.
turn out that way, but of the teams that made the playoffs, you know, this is probably the most balanced team, but most balanced game where both teams have good offenses and good defenses. They both have great offensive schemes, play callers, and two good defensive coordinators, one being a little more superior than the other. But I think the 49ers have a better defensive cast, but I think the Cowboys have a better defensive coordinator and scheme. In this game, who do you guys have?
Man, this one's tough, man, because both you got both defenses that are really good, and then one defense gets to go against a rookie quarterback. But on the other hand, you got the defense going against the player who gives up the most interceptions this season, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's tough, man. But I think Dallas wins this game. It's I think it's just even though San Francisco is not a bad team, there's not a lot of holes or deficiencies. Debo is a super dynamic player, but you can't discount that this kid is a rookie. And it's not like he's a second round rookie, first round rookie who came from a big program and played in the SEC championship and all. You know what I mean? Like at least with Burrow, to EJ's point that he was making earlier, this guy came from LSU, played national championship game. So even though the NFL is a bigger deal, the dude kind of got ice water in his veins because he's kind of been there. He's been in these big time situations before. You're a seventh round guy. You were expected to be on the practice squad and throw during receiving drills. You weren't expected to do anything, you know. You were the guy, picking up the notepads when everybody got done in the quarterback meeting
Hmm.
because you literally were there not to have no input. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, I have to go with Dallas because of the rookie of it.
Yeah, I think he hits Earth. This time. I mean, we've been saying that he might these last few weeks come back to Earth, but I think Michael Parsons and what Dan Quinn has been doing with Michael Parsons and that defense, sending him on blitzes, sending him A gap, B gap, you know, uh, coming outside, just the things that they were doing last week against Tampa. And granted, I thought Byron Leftwich may have been calling a bad game based on what they have talent wise and who Tom Brady is at that point. Um, but I just the way that they're playing with momentum and the way that defense just pinned their ears back and got after it was a total difference to me. I think Tony Pollard is the difference maker in this game. I think he's the better back right now. He's been the better back the last couple seasons. So I just think Dallas just has a more balanced attack. I don't know what we're gonna really get from San Francisco. Hell of a team, but I don't know that they got something for Micah Parsons today.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have to scheme up a lot for Debo. They're gonna have to try and create mismatches with McCaffrey, Debo coming out the backfield. Hopefully, one of them end up on a linebacker with like Van Der Esch or something like that, which can lead to them making some plays. But with that happening, then he's got to make throws, right? Brock Purdy. And to VP's point, that is a big piece. That's a big piece. He's a rookie. Eventually that's gonna, it's gonna run out. The good luck is gonna run out. We saw them, they started sluggish against Seattle last week. Again, that's divisional to VP's point. But still, a rookie defense kind of bailed them out and got them to where, after halftime, they kind of pulled away a little bit. But the key here, I think, for the Cowboys is the Cowboys go as far as Dak takes them. And Dak goes as far as fuck. I don't know
McCarthy,
why. No, offensive coordinator.
Kellen
Kellen
Clemens,
Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore takes him. The key to beating Tampa last week, and the reason Dak looked like an absolute stud was because they made it so much easier last week. What do? You run the ball. You run the ball. You run the ball. And if it's 3rd down and 3, that's a lot easier than getting a 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 9, 3rd down and 7. That's the key there. Having health on our side is going to be beneficial. Tony Pollard is healthy. Zeke is healthy, so that's a two-headed monster. Don't get me wrong, San Fran has the same, but again, it's going to come down to 3rd downs, and making those 3rd down conversions is going to be key. And I think Dak can make a lot more of those if we can keep it short, keep it easy, keep it simple. Don't get into any problems. We also have Zach Martin, who came back healthy, probably the best right guard in the league. Leighton Van Der Esch, stop the run a little bit, right? So my game plan, if I'm the Cowboys, would be stop the run and make Brock Purdy beat me through the air. And I think it could happen, but I do also think it's a trap game that people are not, paying attention to. Everyone's like, "Oh, look at how great the Cowboys looked last week," and I don't like so many people picking the Cowboys that don't like the Cowboys, and all year have been like, "No, they'll never win," and Dak sucks, and now the whole world is turned, and oh yeah, the Cowboys will win this game, and that's where it gets challenging, and so there's that, but I think it'll be a good game. I hope it's a good game. CD Lamb's gonna have to have a game if they're gonna win this game, and I think a key piece will be because we saw last week they had problems with DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf is huge, pause, and he's fast. Michael Gallup is big, pause, but he's not fast. So you're going to have somebody like T.Y. Hilton, or you're going to have to send Turpin on some deep routes to kind of keep those safeties honest, to open up the middle of the field for the Van Der Esch's and I'm sorry, not the Van Der Esch, the Schultzes and Hendershots and those guys.
Yeah, I think Schultz will have a big game. That's
Yeah.
Dak's safety valve, but he also looked very comfortable in the pocket last week, and he used his legs. I don't know why Dak does not use his legs more. I don't understand it.
I think it's that injury hangover,
I
man.
was just about to say that
I
injury
think it's
hangover.
it's
He
the
didn't really
injury
use before
hangover.
that though. To me, like even then, he still used to piss me off. I just think he's always tried to make himself a pocket guy, and I think in the back of his mind, third round guy, right? No one wanted him. He won Senior Bowl MVP. People like this dude deserves more, credit, more, more talent. But he's just a runner. He's just a runner. He's just a runner. So I think coming out of college, he tried to be and conform to what the league sees him versus just doing what you do best. Go out there,
I
get on the
I hear what
playground.
you're saying. I hear what you're saying, EJ. But I would say that if you're Dak, Justin Fields, Lamar, Josh Allen, Mahomes, guys who can run. If you want to have a long career, you can't take hits at the quarterback position. And that's the reason Tom Brady's been playing for, 23 years or however, 22 years, or however long it's been. He don't take hits, and so if you're a Dak, you get injured going into a contract year, whatever happens, you get your bag. But if he wants to have, 15, 17-year career, he can't be out there taking hits. Sometimes you got to run. And sometimes as a quarterback, you even got to lower your shoulder to get that first down,
Mhm.
but you can't take hits if you want to play long.
Yeah. And he does have to run. He's got to run because we don't have the offensive line that we once had. Our center position is down. We've got a guard playing center right now. So there's Jason Peters went down. That's our veteran 40-year-old guy that was holding it down for us. The good thing is we've seen some guys, that have gotten it done. But it also Demarcus Lawrence is going to have a big game. So Demarcus Lawrence is going to have to come in on the other side, and he's going to have to complement Micah Parsons, and Stephon Diggs can't get beat deep. Like he can't keep trying to jump a route, get beat on those fucking second moves like that. That's the
Trey,
key.
is it Trey Diggs?
Trayvon Diggs. I'm sorry. Did I say Stephon? Trayvon
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Diggs. My bad.
I was like,
On the
huh?
other side of the ball, from a 49er standpoint, I think their defense has to show up. And really, if they're going to win this game, I think it's George Kittle. George Kittle is going to be the guy that's going to be able, I feel like that's going to be able to get open in the middle of the field because, Trayvon is going to be over there probably trying to shadow Debo. And if Debo's in the backfield, he'll be on Ayuk. Like these are, they got a lot of firepower over there. We hope as a Cowboys fan base that the luck runs out for the rookie.
And that's what scares me for Dallas, Steve, is as far as y'all potentially losing this game, is that, you know, whatever that cliche is about it, the tiger can't change the stripes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you've had Dak being the interception leader. Does he go into this game and take risks being who he's been on? I know he had a great game last game, but that's one game, right? Does he go into this game being who he was during the season or being who he was last week, right? If
Right.
if you're Diggs, like you just said, Diggs can't get beat deep. Does Diggs, the reason he's as good as he is because he takes a lot of risks, and most of the time that shit pays off. But does he take risk in this game and it don't pay off?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you jump a route and bat the ball down, get a pick. It's like, oh, this guy's phenomenal. You jump a route and that shit goes right over your fingertips and leads to an 80-yard touchdown. It's like this guy's a fucking idiot. You know?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And it comes down to one of EJ's biggest points today is coaching. Mike McCarthy is a fucking dick. So we can't be in a situation where clock management is required. If clock management is required, we will absolutely lose this game. We saw it last year
Yeah.
against San Fran. We've seen it this year multiple times. Maybe we didn't lose the games, but shit, Jacksonville we did. I mean, so it's happened. Mike
I got
McCarthy is a
fucking torched.
terrible, terrible game manager when it comes to time.
And Steve, what you just said kind of goes back to the quarterback conversation we was having, right? McCarthy's been a coach in this league for 10 plus years. He still can't manage the clock. McDaniel for the Dolphins is a rookie head coach, bad clock management. I
Right.
can excuse it on McDaniel. He's a rookie. This guy's 10. Like, how much time do we give these guys?
Right.
to get
Super
this shit
Bowl,
right?
Super Bowl winning fucking coach, and you still don't know how to call a timeout. Come on,
And
man.
he also came in and the Cowboys won 12 games. So I don't know.
We
I don't know.
won 12 the year before and 14 the year before that. It's not like we've had the talent. It's just we haven't had the guy to get us over the hump. Let's see if this is the guy to get us over the hump. If he gets us over the hump, EJ, then I'll give him all his credit. He don't get us over the hump, at least we got to play in the Super Bowl. If he don't get us there with this team, like think about it. Think about this team. This team is so complete, barring injury, between now and the Super Bowl. This team should be able to make it to the Super Bowl or be a very good contender to get there. I think they should be able to beat San Fran, and I also think they should be able to beat the Eagles. But yeah, we'll see. We will see, man.
Watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space. Watch this space. And then we got Kansas City handled business yesterday, and we talked about that. And the Eagles handled business yesterday, so we talked about that. So we are in a good spot. What's up with Shannon Sharp, man? What's up with your boy, Uncle
Man,
Shay?
I think some Shannon Sharp reminds me of you guys remember damn, what's his name? He's a singer. I can't think of his name. He's one of those singers that use his real name. Not Charlie Wilson, but like one of those guys like that use their real name instead of like a stage name. But I remember he was on on Steve Harvey's show, they do those prank calls.
Mm-hmm.
And he got prank called or whatever. And the dude is like trying to get him going, and he's like, don't think them R&B songs don't mean I won't, he's like, don't let that shit fool you, da da da. And so I think people may think, oh, Shannon Sharp is like a clown, he's funny on TV, you got all
he's associated with Skip,
right? You got all the gifs and stuff like that. And Shannon Sharp is one of them dudes. He seemed like he bought that action, you know what I'm saying? and it looks like he was about to whoop T Morant's ass the other day at that Lakers game, because I think people probably think, oh, this dude's just, he on TV, he's a joke or whatever, and he's really not,
And I told you this probably a couple months ago. The whole T Morant thing. Like, listen, man, I get it. Be a dad, but that's a spotlight that you shouldn't be in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason you need to be on the sideline arguing with Shannon Sharp. Like, come on, man. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Go sit down and be a dad. You can cheer your guy on, but he's always wants to be in the spotlight, and it's just OD to me.
Yeah, I was talking to
real quick, EJ. I don't know if you posted this, Steve, but I saw it on social media, so I'm thinking I saw it from you. And somebody said this T Morant situation is what happens when the dad is only 10 years older than the son.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Or younger, like don't be a menace.
Yo, I mean, this situation, I was texting some people the other day, and this is why I said, everybody ain't a Jedi. Some people are Sith, and for those of us that watch Star Wars, you know what that means. Everybody's not gonna be peaceful and calm and go with balance. And when they're met with hostility, people like, well, he's a public figure. Shay gotta know better. Nah, bro. Like he's
still
out there.
A thug. Sharp's still a thug.
He's still a country boy.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know he's physically.
And he big, yo.
He's 6'3",
He's
chiseled dude. And you talking about he's out here talking smack for the Lakers. He's saying, LeBron, y'all too small. And they got offended by that and told him F him. So how do you think the dude's gonna react? You know what I'm saying? So why does Shay Sharp have to turn the other cheek on that? Nah, nothing to see here, man.
And you know what it is? They probably looking at it like he's Drake. Drake at the Toronto games talking shit, but that's all it's gonna be is talk. And then they say some shit to Shannon Sharp, and he's like, "Oh, hold up, homeboy." You know what I mean? So sometimes you gotta know your audience. You gotta know your crowd or whatever.
Listen,
and Shannon Sharp, like I said earlier, he bought that action.
So listen, Shannon Sharp drinks cognac and smokes Black and Milds.
Right.
What more you need to know?
On TV.
On the internet. He'd be on Instagram Live smoking Black and Milds. What more you need to know that's not the guy you want to smoke with?
Exactly.
So yeah, man. But yeah, Shay was wilding. Shannon Sharp was wilding. Sometimes, I get being a fan, and I do think, Dylan Brooks said he shouldn't have been let back in after halftime. What do you guys think?
He didn't do anything. Like all he did was tell them y'all too small. Heckled. They got mad and they approached him. They
Yeah,
got at him. Like, what do you want him to do?
you're
Exactly.
right.
100% what EJ said. And then on top of that, just like we talked about with the Drake situation a couple years back, all fans aren't built the same. You know what I mean? And so if this was, just some regular guy who had courtside seats, they probably would have kicked him out. It's Shannon Sharp, Hall of Fame NFL tight end and a TV personality, huge Laker fan. They're not kicking him out the game. They're not kicking Spike Lee out of the game. They're not kicking
They
Right.
Jack
should.
Nicholson out. They're not
They
kicking
should.
Drake out.
They should kick Spike Lee
And
out.
yeah, and Shannon Sharp is probably there on a press pass anyway. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's tough. But I thought that was interesting. I thought that was good.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, I need my moment. Fucking guy Ed Reed. This is have you been on this situation, guys, with Ed Reed?
Yeah, yeah, I posted it.
This
Macro
fucking
level for me.
this fucking guy Ed Reed, and to VP's point, everybody doesn't have the same cash. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't have the same clout. He goes to Bethune Cookman, right? They offer him the head coaching job. And instead of dealing with whatever institutional problems they may have, like Dion did, dealing with it with class, behind closed doors, talking to the people, moving with a purpose. This guy blasts the university on social media, talks crazy, and guess what? They say, you know what? We wanted you here, but now you gotta go. And if you're a black person, you don't air out your dirty laundry in public, and you damn sure don't do it to a historically black college university. And I understand you get there and there are issues. There's a lot of shit going on, but people also have to remember Bethune Cookman is in the state of Florida, right? It's a private university, but historically black colleges historically have not received as much support financially from the states that house them as the predominantly white
Especially
institutions do,
Florida.
especially of Florida. So Ed, it was just like it seemed like it became more about you wanting clout, trying to be like Dion and do what Dion did versus you actually going there to do the job. And you can't talk shit about your employer before you start working. Like you just can't do that shit. And it just I think too the thing about it, we gotta remember that Bethune gave this guy a shot. I was debating with this lady who she's black. She's a professor and teaches at one of the HBCUs here, but she didn't go to HBCU an undergrad. So there are black people out there that on the low they hate on HBCUs because they didn't get to go to one, but they wanted to. And she's talking all this shit like Bethune should have been honored to have Ed Reed as a coach. First and foremost, black colleges hire a lot of NFL players to coach. The one that's coaching my school right now played for the 49ers for years. Granted, not all of them are at the level of a Dion or Ed Reed, but like I
Mhm.
had to explain to somebody, Dion is one of a kind, period. When you come to football, you're just talking about a polarizing figure that you don't come across in football at all. And in this situation, Ed Reed last year, just this time, was tweeting to the NFL and college saying, "Hey, I'm out here. I'm available. I'm a coach. I could coach." Miami wouldn't even give this guy a fucking opportunity other than being a glorified advisor. And you take that, and this university gave you a shot. They gave you the keys, and you spit in their face. And now you're fired, and now you look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with a lot of that. Like most guys have to come in and, you're an assistant, and then maybe you become a position coach, and you kind of work your way up the ladder. And it seems like these guys who are on that level, like a Dion, Ed Reed, these Hall of Fame, once in a generation talent kind of guys, are like, I'm not gonna go through the process. I'm gonna skip the line because of who I am. My name is my name. And some schools like these HBCUs taking shots on them. And I think, once you got in there, you could have done what Dion did and said, "Hey, look at what I did this first year. Let's put more money into this thing, and then let's see what we can do next year and make it better." At the same time, though, we also can't pretend that the Ed Reed situation happens in a vacuum, right? Because I think on the Bethune Cookman side, they may be looking at Dion's situation and saying, "We're not trying to give you the keys to the kingdom. and then 2 years later, you're coaching at some other school, and then we look like idiots here. You know what I mean? And so I think both sides kind of have some fault. But like to your point, you can't get hired at a job and start talking shit about your boss before you get your damn gate key. You know what I mean? Like the paint's not even dry on your parking spot already, and you talking
Right.
shit about your employer. You know?
Yeah, no, you're right. You can't, but I want to be clear, make sure that we're not extremely one-sided here. Ed Reed did say that part of what his grievance was were things that they agreed to in principle prior to him signing, prior to him taking the job, and they kind of backed out on some of that. And he did say a lot of it was behind resources for kids, for these kids to train and get better, and things to help with their health and safety and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Validity behind that, not sure. But if that is key and that's a part of it, I can't completely kill this guy. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It was a good opportunity. He probably should have tried to ride it out. But then, I mean, think about it. Bethune Cookman really, like, it's not, nobody's really writing home about about them as a football team, but as an HBCU, to be able to get that, the visuals, he would have been able to get these guys access to some of his ex teammates, the Ray Lewises, to come in there and talk to them, and ex players. Like, this is just different. He could have brought money to the school. There's a lot that he could have done. His name could have carried a lot of weight there. But I still feel like, listen, if part of this, me and you having this conversation ahead of time, before the ink dries, is, hey, listen, I still want, this is part of my demands. This is what I want in order to take this job. And then you start reneging. I might have a problem there. I don't know if I'm going to blast it publicly, to you guys' point, but I
That's the
might
point.
have a problem there.
That's the point. And the thing is, like, you make a valid point. I don't know how valid he is with the shit that he's talking about, but these universities, especially black schools, and I think, like I said this before on the pod, I think the one good thing that Dion did was show these universities that, hey, if you do invest in athletics, you can do other things. Whereas these universities, for so long, because of the disparities in education, they've always been so concerned about, we're education first. We're education first. Athletics is secondary. They don't worry about the things that fill the stadiums. They're worrying about trying to compete academically to
Mm-hmm.
exist, right? But to your point, Ed, if you had them issues, man, you don't go on Twitter and do all this dumb shit. And now it looks like you're just doing this for clout. Because even in the speech that you posted that he gave to the team, he wasn't making any goddamn sense. He was looking crazy. And it's like, maybe this is why over a year, no team really gave you the keys. And at the end of the day, we got to give Bethune and the Jackson State credit, because these are the universities that gave these guys a shot. Dion, I don't know that he would have got a job anywhere else. Being a head coach, he might have. I don't know. But Ed Reed, you literally went an entire calendar year begging for a job. And these guys gave you a shot, where your own university that you bled and sweat for at Miami didn't value you enough to give you a job. They gave you an advisor, chief of personnel bullshit position. Even the coach that is currently there was quoted to say, yeah, he's been a great mentor to our kids. He ain't did shit else. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's like that black business that you go to and you have a shitty experience one time, and
Most of them.
instead of like saying to the people, it's been a shitty experience, you blast them on social media, and maybe the cook was sick, you know what I mean? And I get it, you don't have to go back there and patronize, but is it smart for you to go out there and fucking blast them, especially this is the place that's giving you an opportunity, and your parking space paint ain't even dry yet? What are we talking about?
Would this have happened? And I'm trying in 2023 to not race out the pod as much, but would this have happened if this was Ben Roethlisberger at another school, like a white school,
In Miami of Ohio or something like that?
something like that? You think he would have been fired, or you think they would have not, granted his, the terms of the contracts and stuff like that, or you think it would have just been clean and clear, or do you think they just saw, like, Ed Reed, we made it. We made this decision, and maybe we jumped the
You
gun
don't
on it,
you
and
don't
he
look like
probably
the
wasn't the right
guy.
guy.
You don't look like
I,
the guy at that point. You look like you can't emotionally control yourself. You look crazy. And so they ask themselves, is this the guy we give the keys to going forward? What are you gonna do? What kind of other meltdowns
In
are you
Florida,
gonna
no
have?
less.
You gotta
and I think
you gotta think about it just real quickly. These universities, whoever works for them is a representation. Just like Steve, you're the company guy of the pod. It's like, if I go out here doing this publicly and I speak about my employer and I look crazy, I'm giving them no option but to fucking can me. We can't have you out there representing us looking like a fucking jackass. Can't do it.
yeah, and I think part of it too, when you asked about the Ben Roethlisberger comparison, is that it's kind of hard to do because you're talking about Miami of Ohio, they're a more established school, but then also you can't discount like the history of HBCUs, right? And the history of this country. And what I mean by that is that you do have people who go to HBCUs and they have great careers, but they aren't becoming multimillionaires and billionaires and shit like that to then become boosters to give back money to the school that they can put into the athletics program, or they build the new science building and all that kind of thing like that. I'm not sure when the last time you went to Bethune, but the last time I was there, like that place, it looks like shit.
Run down,
It looks run
run
down.
down.
You know what I mean? And to be, and I get it, like a school like a Howard and a Morehouse, and they're kind of seen as being more prestigious, but Bethune is supposed to be like one of those like top HBCUs, and it don't look that way when you go there. And so I think that's part of the issue with these schools too, where you can't really do like an apples to apple comparison if you talked about somebody like a Ben Roethlisberger, for example, just because of the way that those schools, they put people out there. You look at like University of Michigan, for example. This is a
Right.
state school. They get money from the state. To EJ's point, Bethune is private. And then you have people like Stephen Ross, the Dolphins owner, multi-billionaire, who's given the school a $200 million grant. It helped them build a new stadium for the football team and stuff like that, just because that's where he went. You look at when I watch Hard Knocks with the Cardinals owner, multi-billionaire, donated money to the school he went to or whatever to help them do some shit with their athletics program or whatever. And then they named the stadium after his dad or something like that. And
Mhm.
these HBCUs don't have these legacy people that are coming in on the back end helping fund them to make them bigger and better.
Right.
And then,
They
and that's
got
the
they
thing.
got they got niggas like us giving them $60.
And that's the thing. If you Ed Reed, right? Again, our HBCUs have challenges. We know this, right? And like you said, if you've been there, you see it. Ed Reed, you knew that before you took the fucking job. You was there. You seen the fields. You see what they have. You see what's going on.
Yeah.
So again, what other university gave your ass a shot? You didn't have to go coach a 1AA team. You could have went to fucking D2. You could have went. You could have came here to Maryland and found a small school to coach at. Bethune gave you the shot you were looking for. If they have challenges, we understand. But the way he went about it just wasn't the way to go. It wasn't the
Yeah.
way.
Hey, the Carters are petty, man. The Carters, anytime Nas comes out, Jay-Z got a drop. And then now we got Rihanna who got the Super Bowl nod, and Beyonce was like, hold my beer, and got the Dubai joint for 24 million and then murdered that shit last night. They just petty Kruger, man. Are you guys excited about Rihanna for the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I
Besides the
mean,
fact that she's fine as hell.
look, for me, my thing with the Super Bowl, right, is that I get that the NFL has to cater to a large audience, right? But after everything happened with Janet
Hey,
Jackson, Justin Timberlake,
let me cut you off for 2 seconds. Remember, Vari, when EJ said Jay-Z is not doing his job with getting people into the NFL?
right?
Go ahead.
And
Go
this is
ahead. Go
this
ahead.
is this is exactly where I was going. Right? I was getting.
It's
I'm telling you,
It's
I was
Rihanna.
rounding first base, and this is where I was
Oh,
going.
my bad. My
So,
bad.
He's not
so
even there anymore.
you had Guns and Roses, and in one year they had the Who,
Bono, I
and
think
I'm
was
literally like, who? Like Bono, and those things were just trash. And now the performances after they did the deal with Jay-Z, where you got the Weeknd and Bruno Mars and the joint they just did with Snoop and Dre and Eminem, Mary J. This year, Rihanna, they had Beyonce a few years ago. The Super Bowl halftime is becoming a show again, to where it's not like, oh, okay, well, I had a lot of nachos and buffalo cheese dip or buffalo dip earlier, so let me go, hit the shitter during halftime because I don't need to see Guns N' Roses. So yeah,
Shit,
it's
Guns N'
relevant,
Roses,
and
the truth.
I do like Guns N' Roses,
Who
I'm just
doesn't?
making a point.
Fuck.
but I get what you're saying.
For the record, my argument I think at the time had nothing to do with Jay-Z getting talent to play. I think it was him being crowned the Messiah, supposedly meeting with the NFL to make a difference and all this other dumb shit. Like, no, we've been said on this pod, Jay-Z meeting with the NFL is about Jay-Z getting bread, nothing else.
But
Yeah,
no,
but I
I'm
think
excited to see, to be honest.
what you miss in that is that I think everyone looks at it on at face value. People are saying Jay Z getting in there is him getting money. Jay Z getting Rihanna in there gets him money, gets him clout, gets her money. But it also, you guys forget the piece to being a little black girl, especially you. You got three girls. For them to look up and see that they could be one day potentially performing on a Super Bowl halftime show, they may not want to be singers, but it's just the hope that it gives to young, black boys and girls, throughout the United States for some of these things that these people are doing. And it's beyond Jay-Z. This is everybody, but I mean, this is key, right? The Dr. Dre. You saw Dr. Dre last year. You saw The Weeknd. Like, when you see like people that look like you doing things, that hopefully the hope is that people are not thinking, all right, let me go find this family in the hood or in the streets. I got to sell drugs, and I got to do this and I got to do that. So that's the additional piece of that.
EJ, you remember on the pod? You remember on the pod when I talked about how Biden appointing Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court would allow little black
Imagery.
girls to see themselves growing up to possibly be a Supreme Court justice?
Yep.
And somebody said that shit don't matter.
Yep. Imagery.
I didn't say that.
Put Jay-Z in front of it and some
What I
some
said,
singers.
what I said was that shit
turns
ain't
into
doing nothing for me today.
this nigga
That's what I
turns into
said.
this nigga turns into hope across America and shit. Like, they could grow up to be Rihanna. No, fuck being a judge. No, fuck that.
No,
Fuck
what
being
I
an
said is
attorney.
that shit ain't doing nothing for me today. Shit. Speaking of which, where's my student loan money? This nigga went out there, put his dick on the table, and then got overruled by the same judge you talking about that he put in there. She ain't do shit for my little $10,000 yet. Fuck out of here.
Man.
All right. So, what else is going on? Anything else popping? Anything else in the world? Lots going on. I mean, I don't think we ever talked about Meg The Stallion, or did we, EJ? I don't remember.
Yeah, we did. We talked
Yeah,
about
We
it.
talked
And
about.
VP said
I
it was
wasn't there. I was listening.
closed deal, and I said still watch this space. Tory's getting
Well,
a new
Jose
legal team.
Baez. He's getting Jose Baez, which is Casey Anthony's guy. He got her
Aaron
off.
Hernandez.
Aaron Hernandez. Like, you never know. It could be
But
some hope here.
the difference is though is he's already been convicted, so he's got to hope.
appealing.
It's an appeal.
But that's the thing though. I mean, it's hard to appeal in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the math is just totally against him on the chance
all
of
levels
success.
on all levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta appeal.
No, you have to, absolutely. I'm not saying not to, but I'm just, it's going to be a tough deal.
Yeah. We're still watching that space.
The only benefit there is there was so many holes in that first in the first case, that first trial, that they could poke holes somewhere, and that's probably all they're hoping is let's poke holes. It's obviously right when you're a defense attorney, I'm not showing that this person's innocent. I'm just showing you that there's holes in that story that says that he or she did it. So
I'm not saying they're innocent. I'm saying they didn't make their case.
Right, exactly.
I'm saying you didn't prove beyond reasonable doubt that this nigga did it.
Yeah.
I mean, because the gun residue, that still sticks out to me. Like, this dude had no gun residue on him, but
very minimal compared to her. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Another shooting last night. VP. There's your cue. California, I believe, 10
Mm-hmm.
people. Suspect is still at large, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And no motive yet. So we'll probably watch. That's a watch space for next time. What you niggas? What you guys been watching, man? Like where we at? Where we at? What do I need to watch? Because I've been listen. I got a lot of stuff on my docket, and I haven't gotten to because I've been watching my guilty pleasures.
You until you watch the fucking Power Universe, you're gonna piss me off. You gotta watch. You gotta catch up on Raising Kanan, and
Mhm.
BMF just came out with his second season.
I
So
do need to watch those, but I don't got time for those. Like when I watch TV, when I watched my guilty pleasures, I watched The Challenge on MTV. Like I need
Circle,
to. That's my shit. The Circle. I like to see real people doing real shit.
yeah. But BMF came out with second season, about third episode. It's looking interesting. I just Mayor of Kingstown. I binge watched that. That's on Paramount. The second season just came out, and Tulsa King finished. Steve,
Did you see the finale?
I didn't really. I thought it was little. It seemed like it was rushed or something. It just seemed like it was kind of rushed the way things went down. But pretty cool.
Isn't it Mayor of Kingstown?
That's what I said.
That's what he said.
Oh, I thought he said Mayor of Easttown, the other show.
Oh
Oh
no,
no,
that was
not
the
a
other one.
mayor.
That's
Nah.
what I thought he said. That's why I was like, wait, I think he's talking about a different show. So
Yeah,
that was a
Mayor of
miniseries.
Kingstown. That shit
Okay.
was pretty damn good. Especially last season's finale. That shit was kind of
I heard it
crazy.
was good. I heard
Yeah,
Mayor
that shit.
Kingstown was good.
That shit is pretty crazy. I want to get into Yellowstone. It's got 5 fucking seasons, but I want to get into it.
Yeah, Yellowstone
Um,
1923. I heard both of those are good.
yeah, they got the prequel joints. They basically the 2 new seasons are prequels of the current Yellowstone. So you got like when the family settled in 1800s, and then like the transition in the 1800s and the 1920s. But then Yellowstone is the actual Kevin Costner flagship show. They have about 5 seasons of that. So I want to catch it. Paramount has got some good shit, man. It's a pretty raw streaming service, and I know some of their partnerships are with MTV. Like Mayor of Kingstown was like an MTV production, which was interesting. But it was one other thing that I watched. I can't remember what it was. I tried to get in the Kaleidoscope on Netflix. I can't do it just yet. But I was watching this other dumbass show called Kindred. That shit is based off of a book, and that's horrible. That's horrible. Basically, young lady has abilities to travel back into time to the plantation where her ancestors were, and it's just fucking dumb. It's like it's so toxic and triggering. It's just crazy to me.
She was
I
twerking
can't
on the
do it.
plantation.
Their shit is one episode. So she meets this random white dude at a restaurant, who's a waiter. They basically date, have a great time, kind of show like they kind of love each other, kind of thing. So he goes back in time with her. So it just becomes a thing. Like he takes his iPhone back to the plantation and fucking listening to music, and
All right, I'm not watching that.
it's like
I'm not doing that.
it's so bad. It's so bad. But it's based off a book. But that's pretty much all I've been watching so far.
VP, I know you've been moving.
Yeah, man, I actually been watching a lot, man, since I'm handicapped and shit, so it's not like I'm doing the moving, but I watched all the usual shit that I normally talk about. Also watched Glass Onion, the Knives Out joint. I watched
Oh, was it?
Knives
I
Out
heard it
the
was good.
original. Yeah, it's
I
actually
saw it.
pretty good. The one thing I think that's a little off-putting when you watch it is when the first time that you see Daniel Craig's character on screen, because
Mhm.
in the show they give him like this, he's supposed to have like this southern accent, and knowing that he's like a British guy, like that accent, I don't know why they did that.
Horrible.
That just sounds terrible.
Horrible.
It sounds
Horrible.
terrible. But
I can
it's
imagine.
it's like one of those cartoons, like I do that, Clay.
Yeah. Yeah. You literally hit it right on the head. It's horrible. Horrible.
Sounds like hot
He
pussy.
sound like he sound
sounds
like
just like him.
Foghorn Leghorn.
He sounds just like him. He sounds just like him.
So but it's actually pretty good. They do a good job of like revealing the twist and all that kind of like it's because both of them are like murder mysteries.
Mm.
So it's both of them really good. Knives Out was good, and then Glass Onion was pretty good. Also checked out this show called The Riches on Amazon.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was good.
It was alright.
It was
But
good.
it's kind of like if it's kind of like I was gonna say Power, but I didn't mean Power. It's kind of like Empire.
Empire.
But
Yeah.
instead of a record studio, they own a black hair products company
Where are they located?
in Britain. All of them are British
Oh,
except for
so no guns.
no.
Oh, then I ain't watching that shit.
And it's all like this backstabbing.
It sound like
in
sound like garbage ass Top Boy.
But I checked that out. I watched the whole thing. Also watched Black Mirror, the Netflix joint. I know it's old, but I had never seen it, so I binged the whole series in like 4 days or whatever. Because
oh my god,
because it's 5 seasons, but the first season's 3 episodes. The fifth, the one season's 3 episodes. Another season's like 4 episodes. One season's 8 episodes. So none of them are like 10, 12 episodes. So you can watch the whole thing like very, very quickly.
Isn't Black Mirror like Kaleidoscope one of those where you don't have to watch it in order? You can watch it in whatever order you want and
right.
get.
You can watch it however you want. The shows aren't connected, so you can
Gotcha.
You can watch season 4, you can watch season 1. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the show itself though. It's like it's supposed to be like they take new technologies and you see these technologies kind of they take them out to their extreme and use them for like the worst possible reason. So like in one episode, as an example, it's called The History of You. They have this thing, these implants in their eyes that record everything they do. And then they have a remote that they have that they can like rewind and see stuff that happened throughout their day. And so they have this dinner party and his wife like giggles at a joke that this other dude made. And he keeps going back and rewatching it and like zooming in on different shit in the frame. And then he uses all that to discover that the wife cheated on him. And then like the whole relationship becomes toxic and all this crazy shit or whatever. So, and then so I won't go that, but anyway, it's stuff like that. It kind of takes technology to the extreme but it's a good show. Some episodes like really hit and some are kind of but it's a good show overall.
You know how I get, man. If I see something I don't like, one episode will throw me all the way off.
Also, to circle, watch the whole thing.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I didn't really like this season. That's probably why I'm watching so slow.
Yeah, I didn't really care for the people this season that much. Yeah. I did like the fact that they had somebody with a disability there.
You like them big old you like that?
And, shit. I checked out Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's it's the movie with the Asian chick where she can
it's like really nails it on the head,
right? Because there's only one of them in all of America.
The one who was the mom in Crazy Rich Asians. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. Okay.
I thought that was a good show or a good movie, but
yeah,
I don't remember.
Okay, well, she's the main character. The show is like basically like about the multiverse. Essentially, it's not MCU, but it's like there's a multiverse, and if you know how to access it, you can access yourself in another universe, and then like it's almost like how in the Matrix, how they download skills. You can access that person and download their skills. So like if she gets in trouble, she can access herself in a multiverse where she knows kung fu, and then she can use that to defend herself in her universe. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So it's like
how quickly could she access herself?
It take like it's the funny part of it. It's kind of like almost like a semi comedy because they have to do something to make them like access. So it's not like just you click a button and you access it. So you have to know what to do to access it. So it might be to access yourself in this universe, you need to pinch yourself on your left arm. Or to access a different universe, you got to wear your shoes backwards. So you put your left shoe on your right foot, right shoe on your left foot. They had one where literally a dude had to jump on something like some kind of like a butt plug kind of. So like he rammed something up there, then it like makes him access the other universe.
Oh nah,
I ain't watching that.
But it's a good movie overall. But it's one of those movies that you got to pay attention or you'll get lost in it. And so you can't be like EJ and start at 3:00 in the morning.
I think EJ watches everything at 3:00 in the morning.
Right. And then last thing I'll say real quick, I watched Chip and Dale movie. the cartoon Rescue Rangers.
Rescue Rangers.
They made a movie, and I was like, I don't know, and then Tiffany was like, no, we should watch it. Charlie is good, and the shit actually was pretty good. I was surprised when it was like one of those live animation movies,
Yeah.
but the way they do it, it got like a Roger Rabbit vibe to it or whatever, where like you got real people interacting with the cartoons.
I think I
And
did
then
see that. I did
and then
see
they
that.
updated it a little bit to kind of how everybody have all this plastic surgery and shit. So like the cartoons they can have this surgery that lets them, instead of being cartoonish, they're like the live animation or whatever. And so Chip is still the cartoon, but Dale got the surgery.
Okay, so like BBLs.
Basically.
I need to watch it. Ashton's into Chippendale right now, so maybe
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
I feel like it's one of those ones where like kids and adults can get it. You, the
Okay.
nostalgia for you, and then him like coming into it new.
Yeah. I normal stuff, right? My guilty pleasures, the challenge, circle. You know what I did try? I tried starting The Last of Us the other night, and I fell asleep on it because I'm old as shit.
Heard it was good.
I don't know if you guys watched the first episode. I got probably about halfway through it. I got to the point where the daughter was no longer around.
I haven't watched
And
it.
oh, okay. Well, there's a point there where she's no longer around for a bit, and without spoiling it too much, and I fell asleep on it. So, but it looks interesting. It kind of almost looks like it could be, and I didn't finish it, like a Walking Dead type of
It is.
feel to it.
It is.
And
I had the video game. It came with my PlayStation. I played like maybe for like 30 minutes, but it's a zombie kind of vibe.
oh, okay, maybe I'll continue it because we've seen all the zombie shit that we can see. I mean, fuck, watching The Walking Dead for 5 seasons and then kind of falling off. Like, I know every way to kill a zombie if we ever have an apocalypse. Like, every show they show you multiple ways.
And both of them are from Game of Thrones too.
Yeah, Ari. Not
The
no. The yeah, I know
the
you're talking
guy
about.
is Oberyn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't remember that. I didn't remember that.
It's because he
Yeah,
died.
the one who fought. Remember, he got his head squeezed.
Oh, okay, by the giant, by
Not a
the
mountain.
By the
mountain, the
Yeah,
mountain.
that's so the guy is Oberyn, and his daughter. You don't remember her because she was young in Game of Thrones. She's the little girl who was Lady Mormont. Remember the little girl who kept going off on all the old men? I don't care, John's bastard. He got Ned Stark's blood in him.
Oh yeah, yes.
Her, she's the daughter.
Okay,
But
I
she's
didn't
like
realize
5 years older now.
She's a lot older now. Yeah, that's really it for me that I've been watching. I haven't caught too much of anything else that I can remember off the top of my head, but there's some good stuff coming out, and there's a lot that I need to get to that's on my list. So I'll be trying to catch up some here next few months. Real quick before we get out of here, you guys been watching any basketball?
Not really for me.
Yeah.
Keeping up at all? How you guys feel about the league? Any thoughts? A lot of injuries this year.
There's zero defense in the majority of these games.
130 like is the regular now. It's
Fucking
crazy.
crazy. You know how I feel about my team. I mean, I went to see them play the Wizards. And they won that game. Julius Randle's having a hell of a season.
Another good year, yeah. We
He's
talked
having a hell
about
of a
that.
season. But I can't stand Tom Thibodeau, so we're not gonna go anywhere as long as he's the head coach. Miami's
Brunson, man.
Jalen
You
Brunson's
questioned
worth
it.
every
You
penny.
questioned it.
Yeah, worth
He's
every penny. He's
looking good
unathletic
so
as
far.
hell. He's unathletic as hell, but he can play. He's got one of those old school park, the dude that got the knee sleeve and shit.
Like Luka.
He's got
Luka's
one of them old school
unathletic as hell
games.
too. I was watching Luka the other day. I'm like, yo, that is somebody's dad that just came out to play with the neighborhood kids. And he's just nice with it.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
Yo, it's funny you talk about like all the scoring because the Heat played the Atlanta the other day, and I saw on I don't know where I saw that, but the over under was for 222 points total points. And I literally said I should have EJ and have him put a bet in for me, take the under. There's no way that game's gonna go 222, and it went over 222.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's been
I'm like,
happening
that's
a
fucking
lot.
crazy.
It's been happening a lot this year. The overs have been like 240s, 250s. It's
Mm-hmm.
been a lot. It's been crazy. It's
Yeah,
been crazy.
defense is overrated in NBA right now.
Yeah, I was saying that I was gonna say when I was watching Miami play, I was kind of shocked at, what I was seeing. But I just wonder, MVP, I would probably defer to you in your opinion. How long is that team gonna stay together? Like how long is Spoelstra gonna be the coach, and how long is Riley gonna be around? Because just looks like y'all are still doing what y'all do and competing, but it just I don't know, it just looks like something's missing.
A
No, I
coach.
think, I mean, Riley. I think Riley's trying to win another ring. He's basically been on 1 year contracts for the past 10 years. So he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't know when he's going to retire, but he's looking to retire at some point. I don't think Spo goes anywhere as long as Riley is in charge of everything. And the team itself, man, I think we keep putting money into big men that aren't like paying off. We did Whiteside, Bam. He's not terrible, but
He's
for the
good.
amount
He's
for the
just
amount of
small, man.
right for the amount of money that we pay him, we don't generate enough offense out of him. And that's my problem with Bam is that you got a guy you're paying $30 million a year, and he averages like 18 points a game, and that's not what you pay a guy $30 million a year to do. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like shit, you can get Tyler Hero to get you 18 points, and you don't got to pay him 30 mil.
Right.
So
Well, Bam grabs boards. He plays. He actually one of the people that plays a little bit of defense.
right,
Right.
but I
Good
mean,
two-way guy.
still, but the problem is that Bam, even though Jimmy Butler does this too, Jimmy Butler can disappear in a game, but Jimmy Butler will
A lot.
disappear to be like on his LeBron shit where he's facilitating. He's still playing defense. He's still grabbing boards. He's getting assists and shit like that. And then he's like, okay, it's fourth quarter. Let me hit the switch and turn it on. You know what I mean? But Bam disappears and there's no switch. He's just
He's
gone.
gone. He's just
He
gone.
took the whole damn light bulb out.
That's what
Right.
I was watching. I was like, I was watching. I'm just like, these guys, one time were top the East, untouchable. It's just like, what the fuck happened to this team?
Yeah.
Well,
And
you
we can't
also
build through the draft because Riley is if the way that the NFL is like fuck those picks now. If Riley, I feel like started that shit in the NBA, he's like fuck them picks. I mean, I don't think we have a first round pick until like the 2026 draft
Mhm.
because Riley's traded so many of them shits away.
Yeah,
So
I think that
it's
the Kyle Lowry
oh yeah, that was bad.
experiment was a bad
That was a
experiment.
bad one.
Jimmy Butler is finding ways to get to the line more than anybody this year. To
Not
shoot
more than
free.
not more than Joel Embiid.
No,
That
he's
fucking
Jimmy.
guy. They
Jimmy
breathe
Butler
on
has
that
the
guy.
most free throws this year.
Really?
He's averaging something like 21 a game. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
Like it's crazy how much he's getting to the line. But yeah, I mean, you guys are looking like the East, right? But there's people that are hurt, people that are going to get healthy, but there's also good teams that look bad in the East. Like Chicago looks bad. Cleveland looks good. They got some injuries. Boston is doing Boston, right? But there was some rumors, VP, that Luca could land in Miami after his contract is up, and I don't know that the validity or the accuracy behind that, but it popped up on my timeline the other day, and I don't know.
I mean, Pat Riley makes no secret of he wants stars. He wanted LeBron when everything went down in 2010. He wanted to go after KD in 20, I think it was 2014, if I remember correctly. He wanted to go after KD the last time when him and Kyrie went to Brooklyn. So excuse me, him wanting Luca or any other like big name talent is no secret, and he'll give up the farm for it. So um, the question I would say is not if we want Luca, is if Luca wants us. So
Mm,
that would be the bigger question for me.
For the
true.
record, Steve, Jimmy Butler is 11th in most attempted. The top two are Giannis and then Joel Embiid. Luca being number 3. And Shy Alexander 4, Trey Young 5. So
Oh yeah, Trey Young be flopping.
Yeah.
The little baby scalp of his, he just be flopping. Um,
Yeah, this
shit.
this nigga Joel Embiid just lives at the line, bro. Like when they play the Knicks, it's like second quarter, he's already at 20. I'm like,
Because
how the fuck? What
he
is
just
going
jumps on
on?
the floor. He big as hell, just jumps on the floor. You can't help but see his big body fall and call a foul. Yo, Jokic is different, man.
Yeah.
Jokic is, dude. This another one that looks like somebody's, drunk uncle that popped up, and he looked like Billy Hoyle. Like nobody will ever think
Billy
this guy
Hoyt,
is good.
Billy Hoyle. Yeah,
And he just keeps doing it, man. Triple double machine. On his way MVP probably 3 years in a row. I'm about to bet that. That's a last I looked, it was plus 400. I don't see anybody else that could touch it right now.
not Luca.
Um, he could, but Jokic is just, I don't know, man. This dude every night, night in, night out, and Luca too, night in, night out. But I don't know, man. This dude is just different, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. He's good, but he's like great.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I think, regardless of what you think about David Stern, I think that's one thing that he'll probably be remembered the most for is expanding the game overseas with all these great,
European
overseas
guys.
players, European,
Hmm.
Australian, wherever they the NFL needs to try to figure out a way to do that, expand the game, and I don't know. We've talked before. I don't know if it's possible to get a team in London or in Germany or something like that. I know it's always
Oh,
talked
they
about in the
working
off
on it.
season, but like I don't know how it works schedule wise, but like they got to figure out a way to expand the game over there because I think it's super beneficial.
I heard a report that they were really the NFL is pursuing New Mexico or Mexico City.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, Mexico City,
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
there's
they've been
big
having the
games there.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're pursuing a team there potentially. So that's closer. It's a lot closer, a lot
yeah,
easier than Europe or anywhere else. But we'll see.
yeah. And another thing is, the popularity of
Colleges.
basketball is, it's a game that you can play all around the world.
Mhm.
NFL ain't football ain't really like I know Australia's had a
Rugby.
large no, not even like our American football. They have a following there.
hmm
Because we've been like for the last 20 years, they've been having like high school all-star games go to Australia. 'Cause I
hmm
know I got invited in high school, but I never went. But
the kicker for the Miami Hurricanes is from Australia.
yeah, so
And he
they've been
probably
trying
played
to grow the game.
football.
They've been trying to grow the game in Australia for about 20 plus years. But again, basketball like soccer and baseball, these are things that internationally are played all over the world.
Hmm.
So but the NFL is always going to be
Olympics.
the NFL. It's always gonna eat. That
hmm
17 games of a season. That's the thing. That's always the lore of it, right? Basketball, these 82 game fucking seasons. Like I could do without 82 games. I could do without
Yeah,
82 games. Baseball, 100 something games. I could do without it.
I think baseball needs to come down. I'm good with 82 for basketball, but I think
no,
baseball needs to come down.
I think both. I think basketball like 62, 65 games, something like that,
Yep.
and I think you'd be good.
Yep.
Especially now, especially now with the way that teams do that load management shit. You
Hmm.
know, like the other night when the Warriors played Cleveland, they sat
They sat
Steph.
everybody,
They sat everybody.
but they
And
won.
no doubt, but and your boy Colin Cowherd made the point that you make all the time, Steve. He was like, you know, some kid got tickets for Christmas in Cleveland. You're gonna go get to see Steph, and the game comes around. It's like, oh yeah, he's sitting.
Yeah, you get to see Jordan Poole and
He's sitting.
shit. Draymond didn't even play.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Steven
Do you
Chinzo
guys do you guys think both these playoff games today are gonna go over 40 points total?
yes,
over 40.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
The game last night went 40 points.
Yeah, but that was also a one side going
One side
38
of
or some
blowout
shit.
because
Right.
the,
But
'cause the
that's the point,
Cowboys
man.
No, I think that wasn't
Both
it
these teams got
31.
good offenses.
38-7.
Oh, 38. I thought it was 31-7. Okay. So yeah,
But
they
the
won just over.
Cowboys costed me fucking cash with the kicker missing field goals. The spread was 40.5. You niggas got 40 points. Just needed
Mark.
1 point.
Nah, man, that
Well, that
dude,
ain't. That's not the Cowboys. That's
It is the Cowboys' fault. Motherfucking kicker missed 5 field goals.
Nah, he. You know what it is?
He was shaving points.
That's
He had
Tampa
he.
Bay. Tampa Bay
Nah,
could have scored.
he went and made one of those. He went and made one of those prop bets. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
what
the
color?
under.
They need
Like
to
what?
investigate that nigga
He made one of those
immediately.
prop bets. Like, can a kicker miss 5 field goals in one game?
Nope.
He's like,
You know what the?
watch this space.
No, you know what it was? It was
Hold my
probably
beer.
I think the over under for field goals made for him was 1.5 that game, right? And the over was like negative 400, and the under was like plus 1,200 because you would expect that they're going to score 2 field goals at least. And so he probably called somebody who was like, "Yo, I'm about to wire you 3 million. Put the 3 million on the under.
Ray Finkel that joint.
We good. Laces out, Dan."
Your boy bet on the Cowboys too. That guy, the
Mattress Mac.
king
That's
or whatever they
another
call him.
thing that makes me fucking because he's making like I don't want your exposure, man. Y'all keep calling us bums. Let us go out here, win these games, and then y'all suck our dicks when we win this shit. That's
That dude
what I
don't
want.
fuck around and get robbed.
Steve, you didn't seem too confident both these games going over 40. What you got?
I don't know if the Cowboys and I don't know if that one's gonna go over 40, man. You got 2 great defenses. You got number 1 and number 2 defense in the league in that one. With with a rookie quarterback. To get to 40, the route to 40 there, 21-19. Oh, I could see that being a 38 and you being mad, but I could also see it being a 42, 21-21. They go into overtime, somebody wins on a field goal.
And the Bengals Bills game earlier this year didn't look like they were going to score a lot at that point. Before Hamlin went down.
What's the spread on the Cowboy game?
The spread?
I got it going 40. I think the final score is like 27 to 23 or something like that.
So the Bills have a 6-point favorite, and the 49ers are a 4-point favorite.
So I
don't like that.
Well, they're home. They're home. So they're gonna get you get 3.5 just for being home usually. Oh. So really, they're only at a half point up. But I would say I would hedge it. So I would go the 2 overs if you think they're gonna go over, and then I would hedge it on the spread, and I would cover. I'm gonna take the Cowboys covering 4 because if San Fran, yes, if San Fran, absolutely, I'm taking the Bengals covering 6. Matter of fact, put those bets in. I'm about to send you money right now.
Can I get to the games?
Yeah. Matter of fact, we're gonna finish this pod and then we're gonna talk about the bets. Anything else to talk about before we hand this off to the VP?
I'll just like to mention for the audience, for the folks who usually listen live or listen later, our diehards, appreciate y'all. Yeah, I said it in the chat, but I'll say it here. You guys know I had the biopsy. They saw a lump in my on the right side of my face. Had the test done, came back negative. So no cancer, nothing to see here, and happy about that.
Yes, that was just
an angry little feminist.
It was just a build up of the bullshit that he be saying. Got caught in his jawline.
That was good.
But at least listen, man, that's great. That's excellent.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great news. I would say it's a blessing, but just depends on your belief.
Yeah.
So
let's not get him started.
I don't got anything else, man. Anything else we could probably wait until next week. It's either going to be a very angry pod because the Cowboys lost, or it's going to be a shit talking pod getting prepped to beat up on the Eagles.
What's the over under on Steve calling Mike McCarthy a piece of shit today?
That's negative 20,000.
3 to 4.
Yeah, I'm calling him a piece of shit before the game starts.
I need the Cowboys to win though, because I want to be inside the Urban Sunday Fantasy chat this week, leading up to Sunday Eagles game.
Oh, that's gonna be nasty.
Oh yeah,
That's
Yeah.
gonna be
Well,
nasty.
E is always quiet until afterwards. He don't never talk shit till it's done. So all right, man. I got enough chatter for the day. I'm gonna hand it off to you, VP. Get us up out of here, and then that gives us 2 hours before kickoff.
All right. Well, everybody, we definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us. And I haven't been on the pod in New Year, so let me say Happy New Year to all of you guys, Steve and EJ, as
Thanks
well
for
as
showing up.
the audience. We definitely appreciate you guys continuing to rock with us. For those who listen live, we appreciate you taking that time out of your Sunday morning. For those who listen once the episode posts, we appreciate you taking that time as well. Like we've been saying for the last year, I would say now, make that phone call, send that text message, reach out to somebody, let them know you're thinking about them, let them know that they're on your heart. You never know when something can happen. We see they just had a shooting in California. You never know what's going to happen to somebody. So let that shit go. Send a text message, make a phone call. Tell somebody you love them. With that being said, you can find this podcast on all podcasting platforms. Just search Castworthy. You can also follow us on any of our social media by searching at Castworthy. On Instagram, it's at Castworthy_podcast. While you're there, leave us a like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend, help us grow the audience. We definitely would appreciate that. And until next time, we will see you on the next episode of the Castworthy podcast. We out. We love you. Peace.